What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? I'm Celtic Warrior Shane.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to the dive bar of the IWC. Welcome to episode 1 of Wrestling on the Rocks. That's right, again. This is the show where every show is our first show because we don't get to episode 2 till we get through the episode. I cut promos like Tony Khan.
Oh my god.
Welcome to Wrestling on the Rocks, guys. You were there? Sorry,
God,
guys.
what? Why? Why? Oh god!
Every show's our first show. Every show's our first show. First show.
There's no
Wrestling on the
Shane
Rocks.
here. There's no Shane.
There's no Shane. Guys, I'm at Ref Marsh. We are at WOTR, the show. With me today, per usual, we got MsAmandaJayne. Go ahead and say hello, MsAmandaJayne.
Oh my god!
Hello. I'm not going to Tony Khan it because, you know,
Yeah.
my Tony Khan would be awful. So,
And guys,
The Tony Khan is awful.
yep, that's him. You hear it. He's back. We are officially a full litter box once again. We're bringing the Klump.
woohoo!
How's it going, everybody?
Get it? Get it? Full litter box Klump. We wouldn't be a litter box without a Klump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that brings us to our sponsor, Tidy Cats, Clumping Litter. Best litter this side of the Mississippi. You got shits and cats, they got sand and clumps.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yes. Let's start with something real simple, real easy. Let's do a little bit of what's in your glass. We got Kuro in the chat already, so cheers to Kuro. What are you drinking? We'll start with MsAmandaJayne.
Well, I have got our sponsored, not sponsored today, and it's cranberry with vodka. And I'm sorry, it's Russian vodka, but I got it for free. So,
But the hate.
out to
The hate.
Ukraine.
That is good. Let me see. Klump, what are you drinking?
I have coffee. It's Mothman's Red Eye blend from Spring Hill Jack Coffee. Good coffee there. And I also have a La Flor Dominicana, Ligero, Perfecto.
Hell yeah, dude. I just got gifted a Diamond Crown Maximus Robusto number 5, which was apparently incredibly limited, and the rep had it in his own humidor for like 5 years before he discovered he had like a dozen and brought them in, and we're like don't mind if I do.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I only got the one. I'm gonna see if I can't snake another one so you and I can try them together. I am having the very last of our sponsored, not sponsored hard seltzer, Sonic Original Limeade. And I'm going to start by putting just a skosh of red dye in it to give it some color.
That's right. You need other food coloring, or ones you can mix.
Yeah, that's true. I only have this one because it looks like blood. Well, guys, let's start with some news, if you guys don't mind. It's good to see everyone back. Amanda, let's start with your news. What was the birthdays of the week?
Well, earlier this week, big birthday celebrations to Booker T, Big E, and we remember Emma, who was Tennille Dashwood, Davey Richards, Kyle O'Reilly, some good ones right there. And then today is good old PJ Black, which we all know him as Justin Gabriel from the original Nexus. Let's see here. Who else do we have this week? Mr. Kennedy's this weekend.
Very cool.
Along with Bruce Pritchard. He's celebrating a birthday today, this week.
That's cool.
And let's see if there's anybody else of
The only other two I know of is Ivar of the Viking Raiders.
Oh yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
And Josiah Williams.
Oh yeah. And then Michael Tarver, and then Melina and Steiner.
Oh,
yeah.
So, happy birthday to
Cheers.
y'all.
Cheers and happy birthday to all of them. All right. We had Bishop on last night. It was pretty cool. So, in a good mood. Always good to see that guy come around, have a drink with us. It's not about what you're drinking, it's who you're drinking with. And he's a good drinking buddy. So, looks like even the Kuro emoji he used was Pikachu sipping on something. Lee Moonlight coming through saying cheers. Or she does the little wave. But let's see. Let's talk about some little stuff before we get into the big stuff, I think. You guys been keeping track of the Control Your Narrative?
Unfortunately, fair amount.
It's a roller coaster, man.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things to watch, but I don't think it's for the reasons that they want you to like. I'm not gonna watch the program. That's a certainty. But I am gonna watch everything that they're doing online.
Oh my god, that's sad.
It is incredible. It is absolutely incredible.
Did you
go ahead.
notice their shows are so cheap? If you go to a live show.
Yeah,
They're
how
like
much are the
$8.
shows? $8. That could be why
Yeah.
they finally sold out, but it took them like a couple months to sell out. But they did it, and if it's $8 a ticket, that'll do the trick. They also had to announce that they have a TV deal. Let me pull up this TV deal because they had said it was imminent, that it was definitely coming, and that they definitely have a TV deal that was going to be big. And just first thought was, I wonder if they know what TV means. And then when they made their announcement, I went, oh, they don't. They don't know what TV means. Let me see here. Hold on. I didn't bookmark this photo because the way they posted it was pretty great. Let me see.
Prove me wrong.
I believe it was the Pro Wrestling TV streaming service, which, for the record, I've never heard of to begin with.
Yeah, big network. You didn't know about that? It's like NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox, and that fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even find it right now.
You know the weird channel that shows the like the old shows on TV? Yeah, like Emergency and $6 Million Man.
Yeah. I can't find it. I can't find it, but it was something along the lines of Pro Wrestling TV. I'm sure it has to do with sort of the platform that was. Maybe this would be a good one to go to. Sort of like a High Spots network, but not even that big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, did Braun pay for it then?
Probably.
Oh, here it is. Pro WTV. Here it is. Pro Wrestling TV, streaming network for wrestling fans everywhere. Follow for news on our debut. Launching April 2022.
No, thank you.
Here's the nice thing. So they don't even exist yet. It's called Pro Wrestling TV. This is their TV deal on their Twitter account, which is going to debut with this. It has 343 followers, and it's been around since January 2022. Granted, that's only 2 months. But at the same time, the TV deal is imminent, being a streaming service that sounds a lot like they bought it and built it themselves. All right. I mean, I'm not super excited for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, yeah, it looks like there's that. After we change the controller narrative, come party after us tonight, celebrate. Yeah. I mean, they're going to have some cool people there. It looks like Kevin Nash, X-Pac, Jeff Jarrett, EC3, Braun Strowman are at some sort of meet and greet thing after their thing. I don't know if those guys are actually on the show so much as just going to be in town and so are going to be around kind of a deal is what it looks like. But, yeah. CYN. You guys thrilled?
Excited beyond belief.
Yeah.
I mean, truthfully, if they... Okay, we'll do this. If they created the narrative along the lines of, we're not going to join a TV network, we're going to create our own app and content, that would actually not be too bad sounding if you think about it, you know?
Yeah.
But instead, it's just like this filling up, like building up. We're doing this, and we're going to do. We got a TV network, yo. Like, oh, we're really good at this. So like, TV networks behind us, and it's just
Yeah, it's insane. And some of the merch they have is so crazy. And Austin Aries is a part of it already. And
there's a lot of like on wrestling Reddit, a lot of people like, this is like every alt-right asshole in wrestling together.
yeah,
It's like, wait for it. Nia Jax's new name, she's gonna be the head of their women's division. It's just every person who didn't like vaccines or has had questions about where they were on January 6th. All of you fuckers.
yeah. Also, what was it? The shirt said, "We live in a society, and that fucking sucks." You're like, yeah. I guess when you don't want to concern yourself with others, that must be frustrating. The existence of other people. TP Poker coming through. TP Poker.
Burp, 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 burp.
He says, hello and good evening, friends. What possible content could they have? Backyard wrestling, maybe. That's just it. Is Pro Wrestling TV has zero content. Control Your Narrative is going to be their content. That's not the same as a TV deal. But as we've been conditioned to understand, every big announcement is not always the big announcement. So kind of is what it is. But yeah, that's them. Anything else you had on in news or anything, Amanda?
No, because there's some pretty big news. So yeah, nothing.
Let me just run down some GCW then real quick. I went to GCW this week.
Oh, real quick. Oh, speaking of
go ahead.
GCW, our lovely Speaking Up movement. I'm thinking that's going to happen again. But today it was G Raver. He's deathmatch dude.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
So
a few things came
just
out
be
about
warned,
him.
we might get scummy people or not scummy people who just people just want to call out because they want to call it out.
Mm-hmm.
Just warning. So.
Yeah. Yep. I read a little bit about that. Doesn't sound like good stuff. So.
No.
But we'll see. Is he UK dude or was he New York? Wasn't it Jersey or some shit?
Jersey. A lot of those guys are from like Jersey, the East Coast.
Yeah.
The East.
So I went to GCW this weekend to see X-Pac return to the ring, and he had a tag match with Joey Janela against the Major Bros. Fucking loved it, man. Their match was so good. Say what?
Good match.
The match was so good. Joey Janela really stepped up in a different stratosphere in my mind. He's doing the best work of his career right now.
Mm-hmm.
And AEW is not even trying to capitalize on the fact that they have him.
Nope.
He's not been released yet, and he's not out of contract yet, and he's honestly in the best shape of his life. His in-ring is as crisp as it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
His ability to tell a story both through moves and on the promo, because he cut a promo the next night, I was blown away. I was like, holy shit. Like, this is better than a lot of the stuff I'm seeing on TV in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was kind of my big takeaway. Was just how good Janela was. I mean, awesome stuff all around, right? Cardona, Brian Myers, Chelsea Green all did fantastic. X-Pac looked great. I think having him in a tag match was good. It looked like he was getting used to being back in the ring, but he was doing awesome. You know what I mean? Like, realistically, it wasn't until like really close towards the end of the match where I was like, this is affecting him at this point. But he went for a while too. I remember speculating before I went. I only thought he was going to be in the ring for like 2.5 minutes, maybe. I was like, they're going to keep him out of the ring as much as possible. He tagged in way early and was in most of the match. Like, he was going hard. It was great. And it looked awesome, man. It was just a good fucking time. I got the GCW 6 shirt. I got Thunder F and Rose's shirt.
That shirt is great.
Yeah, it was really cool. Let's see. Night 1, I'm trying to think what other... So, Ninja Mac had a match with Speedball. And during the match, Ninja Mac leaves the ring, comes over to me and says, hey, give me a hand. I was like, what? And so I helped him set up a ladder so he could climb on top of this thing. And the video's going around of him falling off the top of the thing. and Speedball kind of walking away. I set up the ladder with Ninja Mac and held onto it while he climbed up the top, and while Speedball came around, I held it up for him too. And when he came down, I was holding it for him, like, and then I put the ladder away, like, dude. And that fucking fall from Ninja Mac was insane. He was like out of it. I met him right afterwards and talked to him for a little bit, and he was like trying to talk to other people, and you could tell he was kind of like still a little discombobulated from it all. Part of it, I'm sure, was selling. Part of it, I'm sure, was not. But it was just really
30% concussion.
Yeah, dude. It was cool. It was really
Now,
cool.
were you wearing your ref jersey? Did you look like you were a responsible person or something? I'm just curious.
No, I was just standing close enough to the ladder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sure, because I had the Matt Cardona ref shirt with me, but I didn't put it on. I was wearing my Pro Wrestling for Life shirt for X-Pac Solidarity. It was a really good time, dude. I'll tell you, even when some of the matches are just clearly not for you, it's just a good time anyways. Like, it's easy to just kind of like let it be what it is. Seeing Nick Wayne wrestle for the first time was pretty cool because, you know, I think there's a really good chance he's going to be a name for a long time, I think.
Nick fucking Wayne, 17 years old.
Yeah.
Great, just so talented.
He was really good. He was in there with Blake Christian.
Ooh, that'd be a good one.
It was really fun. It was really cool to see him do his thing, and I do think that he is young and fast, and I felt like he got ahead of himself a few times, and, you know, slowing down will come with time, or precision, one or the other. But it was just awesome to see. He had a lot down. Like, he was just doing such a good job, and it was also really cool to see him kind of like walk over to get like a Sprite and a water bottle, like from the back to the front kind of a deal. And as people were like, "Oh, dude, you killed it," like, to see the excitement on his face of just getting that recognition from the fans and stuff, I thought was just really fun. It was just cool. Yeah. He's going to be somebody. Like,
oh, definitely.
Barring an injury, he's either going to injure himself way early and be out, and we're going to say what could have been, which I don't think is what's going to happen. But I think that's the only thing that will stop him from being a name we talked about for a really long time, to be honest. So that was cool. It was really cool to see him. So they didn't open the doors till like 7:30 that day, and maybe it was just like, maybe that's just what it looked, because we drove up at 7:33. We looked in. It didn't look like they were letting anybody in yet, and there was nobody on the inside. And so I was like, well, shit. I guess we'll come back in a couple minutes, because the line was massive. So we grabbed a coffee, came back 10 minutes later. My line's moving. By the time we are getting patted down, you hear the bell. The show's starting. Well, for those fucking first 30 minutes, they were doing meet and greets upstairs with X-Pac and Cardona and Myers and Chelsea Green, like the people who I wanted to meet and do some signatures of and stuff. The merch that I brought. And, yeah, I wasn't able to do any of that, and it was just a bummer. So the next day I went way early, and then that one they actually opened up early. They were open at like 7, like on the dot. Let everybody in an hour early for the only meet and greet, which was Thunder Rosa. And I'm not saying that she doesn't deserve that, but I am saying, like, you had a bunch of people the day before with a lot of national TV exposure. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, it could have been done a little bit different, I think. That's all. It just needed to open up earlier. Just open the doors earlier. It would have solved all those issues. Make sure everyone's in the building before the bell rings. You know what I mean? But the opening match was fucking Briscoes, Juicy, and Jacob Fatu. It's fucking sick.
Damn.
Dude, and speaking of Jacob and Sam Stackhouse had their match this week, too. Stackhouse fucking kicked his ass.
Yep.
Stackhouse won.
Woohoo!
Won with his finish, Klump.
Against Jacob Fatu?
Yes. Sam Stackhouse won with his finish against Jacob Fatu. Clean, no shit cannery involved.
Jesus Christ.
How fucking badass is that, man?
That was fucking badass. That match was great. I was like, woo.
Yeah. Not only was it great, it just made me, like, I already think Jacob Fatu is so fucking cool and one of the nicest wrestlers I've bumped into. Seeing him do that on that level, too, because realistically, if you wanted to pull the who the fuck is Sam Stackhouse card, you're going to have to cheat to win this one. He could have. You know? We had Stackhouse on here a couple weeks ago telling his whole GCW life story, and it's been a quick rise and a whole lot of like looking back and forth, like, am I meant to be here? And if Jacob wanted to pull some shit on him, he could have, because this was just a promotion in Oklahoma for a title from Texas. He could have said, hey, we're going to do something funny so you don't lose the title, but you're not going to beat me. But he didn't. He put over Sam real strong, and I just thought, how fucking badass is that of Jacob Fatu? And how fucking cool is that for Stackhouse?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope that Sam gets to do the April GCW out here.
Yeah.
I really hope.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I even tweeted at Sam right before when I first saw the announcement of the match. I was like, man, I love Sam Stackhouse, but rest in peace, man. It's been good knowing you. Getting in the ring with Jacob Fatu, you know?
Yeah.
But no, you fucking...
Boy, did they show you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because next week I get AJ Gray and Fatu again, part 2.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Dude, AJ Gray and ACH had a match.
Oh, I know.
GCW event, too. That was fucking cool. And ACH was really putting it on, man. He was like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was cool. It was a good event. I went with my brother. It was really cool. A lot of fun. The second night... And my only real complaint on the first night was just that, like, the meet and greet didn't happen, and that's part of the reason I drove 9.5 hours to get there. You know what I mean? Was to make the show, and I got in town early to make the show, to make the meet and greet, and couldn't get in the doors before the meet and greet was over, and I was like, well, this is a bummer. But really awesome, great time. Second night, show up, I do the meet and greet with Thunder Rosa, I give her one of our shirts, I get her to sign one of these bad boys. I'll tell you, one of the coolest rushes or feelings, I don't know, it's not quite a rush, it wasn't like an adrenaline dump or something, is when the talent, like, when I get them to sign, like, something I drew. Like, I mocked this up, this Thunder Rosa comic from when she was X23 at AEW, and for her to sign it, and I gave her a copy of it. I also got her to sign this headlock comic of her, too. That was pretty cool. But how much she liked the print a lot. She was excited about it. I would say, though, she wasn't as excited as Nick Gage was. When I met Nick Gage, and I had him sign this, and he was like, oh, shit, you drew this? And I was like, yeah, I got an extra copy if you want one. He goes, can I have it? Like, awesome. Like, he was really excited about it. Really liked it. But meeting the two of them was pretty fucking cool. To me, Thunder Rosa was the headline, though. Thunder Rosa versus Tony Deppen was so good. And every match after that, I was just kind of like getting less and less interested. Not to shit on anybody at all. Like, everyone was doing their thing, but I had already seen a lot of wrestling. I had seen a lot of... I mean, I think that's... GCW's great when it's really leaning into the stories. And I felt like the big story of the weekend was X-Pac and Janela and all that. And a lot of the other stuff was just matchups for the sake of good matchups, which isn't bad, but I get fatigued after a while as a viewer. You know what I mean? Alex Zane was in his first ever death match and ended up in the fucking hospital and had to have surgery.
Oh, yeah. Alex Zane is doing better. His eye. So they said everything was good, but time will tell about the vision. So,
Which is not what you want to hear. A dude who flips around like that needs to have his fucking eyes, and depth perception is very important when you flip around like that. But for him to have one fucking death match for what? It was not a sold out crowd. I don't know what he's making. He wasn't supposed to be on the card to begin with, but said, fuck it, I'll come out. And potentially he could have damaged his eyesight for fucking ever. And it's just, that shit sucks, man. Like, such a bummer. But he did awesome in the match. The moves were fucking incredible. The popping of the glass was insane. Sounded like gunshots. Like, it was fucking cool.
You mean the light tubes?
No light tubes, just those panes of glass.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Ripped open his arm real bad, too.
Ugh. I always think that I'd rather watch the panes of glass than the light tubes. The light tubes scare me. Yeah,
I agree. But I guess at the end of the day, when you see something like this, you go, oh, it turns out the panes of glass are pretty fucking tough on you, too. It just feels like there could be a little more control in the way they pop, but I guess just ultimately, no. There's just none. But his arm was gashed open so bad, someone in the audience would even yell at him before the match was over, Alex, you're bleeding real bad. Like, he fucking looks, and it was like open. You could see into it. He was like pulling out several pieces of glass that were like deep in there, and And then, yeah, he got the fucking glasses on, and just, it sucks. Like, I was really hoping to meet him, too, because I had that drawing I did of him, and printed it off, and he even retweeted it, said he really liked it, and I was like, oh, that's going to be dope. And then after that match, I was like, well, he's definitely not coming back out. he's done. But fuck, man. Thunder Rosa, though, had maybe the loudest pop of the night that night. Maybe not the whole weekend, but that night for sure. It opened up to with Joey doing a promo against X-Pac, and that was fucking dope. So I don't know, it was just a really good time. Really enjoyed it. I'd recommend going to a GCW show for anybody who's got one coming around their way. They are starting to branch out here and there. But yeah, it was just dope. Thunder Rosa, after her match too, went back to the merch table and started doing meet and greets again. I was like, she's not here to break even. She's here to take home a couple bucks. Like, this is dope. Like, and she never didn't have a line. It was great. I was like, I don't even think there's enough people to continue this line at this point. I think people were going back after a while. Like, fuck. But yeah, it was just a constant line for her at her table and stuff. And she's the only person besides, I think, Ninja Mac that I saw consistently set up a spot to sell merch after they were done with their matches. So, yeah. I met Ninja Mac. I talked to him a few times. Mentioned how he jumped in our show once or twice. And he said that he likes to do that. Just to kind of see what people are talking about. And said that the problem he has is that some of the podcasts are like, they'll take it personal when he like takes a shot at him. And he goes, if they just worked with me and went back and forth, he goes, we could both get a little bit of buzz going. You know, Ninja Mac jumps in to talk some shit on this guy. Like, he's like, but they don't. They take it personal. And you're like, oh, okay, well, I mean, you can come and talk shit to us. We don't take anything personal, but.
We don't give a damn. Yeah. Come. No.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other person I met, I think the last person I met over that period was Ryan Satin was there. And he was actually really nice and funny. And we hung out for just a couple minutes and snapped a selfie. And we talked for a little bit. It was just cool. He was super nice. I've always said, with as annoying as I find him online at times, he's not a mean person or a bad guy. It's just sometimes he does stuff and I go, that's annoying.
Did you see Josh Barnett lurking around? Mm-hmm. He always goes to LA shows.
Yeah, he was standing right next to us when Chris Dickinson came out and said he wanted Suzuki again.
Was he wearing his glasses?
Dickinson?
No. Mm-hmm.
I don't think he was.
Well, no.
Yeah. But so Suzuki's coming back, and I think Dallas, they're going to get Suzuki Dickinson 3. They also announced Moxley versus Buzz Bushwick. I forget his name. Biff?
Is it Biff Busick or something?
Yeah. Yeah, Biff. The old Oney Lorcan. But, yeah. They're going to have that match at Bloodsport.
Are we getting Janela and X-Pac at Janela Spring Break?
At Spring Break, you're getting X-Pac and Janela one-on-one, which I think is going to be fucking phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's dope. It's dope. It's really cool, man. I was excited about a lot of it. I did, honestly and openly, I did leave the second show a little early. I think I missed 2 or 3 matches and just headed out and went with my brother to a comedy club and hung out and stuff. So, but
I'm shocked Janela wasn't out there.
He wasn't out there almost at all, man. I feel like I saw him once for just a minute, but yeah. But yeah, that was my GCW experience. I forget if there's anything else you want to know about it. Oh, Nick Gage, when I met him, he said on the Sam Roberts podcast that he never charges for autographs or for photos, because he says that he does it all for the fans, and what the fans do is so much to him. He never does that. As soon as I got up, it was like, hey, $40, man. I was like, all right.
You're not a fan.
Yeah, all right.
You're a homie. You pay.
Yeah, right.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude. It was just, I always just thought it was a little bit weird, but
he's like, you're not MDK enough, bro.
Yeah.
Not MDK enough. Gang affiliated, you know.
Yeah. I'm not gang affiliated. But I mean, it was fine. I didn't mind. It wasn't one of those ones where it's all kind of like, seriously. I was just like, oh yeah, dude, fuck it for sure. I was like, I don't have the cash on me right now, but since he's wrapping up his meet and greet, I was like, if you do this for me right now, I'll run to an ATM, come back and give the money to your dude. And he was like, yeah, that's fine. Like he wasn't like weird about it all. He goes, yeah, whatever. So I was like, okay, cool. So Let's do it.
He's good people. I've always
He's
said
really
it.
cool.
Gage is very good people.
I told my brother that Gage is the type of person you want house sitting your dog or babysitting your child, because he's actually the sweetest guy in the world, but also you know that they're safe as fuck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing gonna happen to anybody in that house. You know?
He cares, but no one's gonna die.
Yes.
Mhm.
At least none
We
of,
all
no-
know
no-
my nickname.
Yeah, at least none of your people are gonna die. You know what I mean?
That's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my GCW experience. I don't know if you guys had any questions about it at all. It was really good, really fun seeing Thunder
Oh, I
Rosa.
do.
Oh, you know what I did say right before you asked? When I met Thunder Rosa or saw Thunder Rosa again, I was like, I haven't seen you since Hard Times, and she goes, back in the day, she was all like, back when NWA, I was like, was really good, and then we both laughed. Like, she didn't say it, I did, but yeah.
Yeah.
What were you gonna ask?
So Janela, after the X-Pac match and what he
Mm-hmm.
did to X-Pac.
Yeah.
So what the fuck happened?
So
there?
people start throwing garbage. He's swatting some stuff. He's trying to catch a beer and drink some of it, and then people started taking the buckets of beer. They were selling buckets of beer with ice in like 6 cans, and they were flinging the buckets into the ring. Mind you, X-Pac is selling. He's laid out in the mat, so shit's hitting him. And at one point, he puts his hand on his face, and then he kind of like rolls to his side because like the shit's flying in the ring. He's trying to sell for the angle in the shot, and people are just throwing buckets of ice and shit. And so at one point, somebody throws something right at Janela. He sees who it is, gets pissed, runs over to the rope, and like throws kicks at the dude. Oh no, the first one actually was the beer in the eye. He turned around and saw the dude who Jacob had to beat the shit out of the once. That dude threw beer into Joey's eye. And Joey, I think knowing that he was a piece of shit dude who's notable for being a dickhead, like, went into the audience, didn't seem to, like, strike him. Really didn't. But was, like, kind of pushing on him in this whole, like, knock it the fuck off kind of a deal and scaring him. I'll tell you this. Before this show at GCW, I didn't think Joey Janela could fight. I was like, he might be a wrestler, but I don't know. He seems a little soft.
Oh,
I'm gonna be honest, that was my perception. But after this show, I was like, fuck that, dude. I do not want to cross Joey Janela.
what the fuck? No. No, I could have told you that. And Joey is very loyal to people.
Yeah.
That, you know, you're cool,
I'm not saying
Janela.
that.
No, I'm not
not-
saying that, but I'm just like,
Yeah.
yeah, like Joey. Come on.
And I'm not trying to say that as like a dig or a tough guy thing or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like, my past speaks for itself. I don't want to get into all of it. You know, if I have to handle myself, I handle myself. It's not a big deal. But I've also met a lot of people who seem tough who are not tough. And I've met a lot of people who drink a lot and get into bar fights but lose them all. You know what I mean? Like, and he just kind of gave me that vibe of like, he might not be the type of dude who can actually handle his own. He might just be the type of dude who gets into fucking scraps all the time. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that as a dig. I just mean that as like a general, he just didn't give me that vibe. And maybe because he gave me the vibe of just like a chill dude. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But after that, seeing what happens when he gets pissed, I was all like, oh, fuck that, dude. Because he went on the other side when someone started throwing buckets, and he fucking scared the shit out of that side too, and was like, fuck this. And so he like ended up rolling out, and they kind of walked him towards the back. Brett Lauderdale comes into the ring, and he's like screaming at people to stop, trying to swat the buckets out of the air and shit, and they're just not stopping. And you could tell that they brought in people like referees and security to like check in on X-Pac, and you could tell he was like, get me the fuck out of here, because they like started helping him out and making it look like he couldn't stand on his own kind of a deal. But like, it was kind of a wild fucking couple moments there, just a couple minutes of like chaos. But yeah, that's what it was. Beer in the eye and then buckets of ice. He did not like that one bit.
I know exactly who that is. That's Anthony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know why the fucking crowd seems to think. I'll tell you exactly why, actually. I think I know why. It became very apparent to me, especially on the second day. It was even more apparent. But there is a lot of people who go into the show already high and already drunk. They go there wasted. I just don't. I mean, like, they're not thinking clearly to begin with, and they all think that they're so fucking cool and this fucking outlaw. They call themselves outlaws and shit. Like, I think the fan base needs a little bit of a humbling check from someone like a Lauderdale or someone to go out there. Because I know Cardona talked about it when they threw the fucking pizza cutters at him. He's like, Lauderdale, you got to do something about this. And everyone's like, oh, boo. And they thought it was a thing. But there's a very real aspect to, like, yo, like, you could seriously hurt someone because you think you're being fucking cool or funny right now. And
Yeah.
we don't need that.
Well,
Especially X-Pac laying down unprotected.
Yeah.
My thought was if a bucket of ice hits fucking X-Pac in the nose and breaks his fucking nose because of these piece of shit fans, because he's working an angle for them, like, fuck off. Like, I was so happy he didn't get hurt, but, like...
He's going to have to ice that. I had to cut it once in a while.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I will say this. There are some... This is mostly in LA, but also PWG has... These are all the same people anyways that go.
Yeah.
There's some people, like, I've gotten kind of stoned before. I personally do not I don't really drink at the shows because part of the problem is I don't want to break the seal. I try not to because I'll miss things. And not only that too, but I'm usually up front and I need to be aware because if something's coming my way, I need to know. And if I'm inebriated, no fucking way. You know, it's too slow. My reaction would be too slow.
Yeah.
So I choose not to do that. And a lot of these people think they're getting over. No, it just makes you look like an asshole. Is what it does.
I've never seen anybody say, do you see what that fan did when they hurt that person? How fucking cool. You know what I mean? Like, I don't fucking get it. Yeah, I limit myself to 1 or 2 drinks for an entire night of wrestling because it's like, it's one thing to be like, I'm relaxing. It's another thing to be all like, I'm going to fucking get belligerent. Like, what the fuck? I want to remember the show too. I paid to see this. I don't want to, like, not know what happened.
Not only that, but unless a wrestler welcomes you to kind of participate in the show, and have an example. I'm going to use myself.
Okay.
And Defy. Colt was wrestling this one guy, Carl Randers, I think. And he was chopping him. And he was outside the ring. And I'm loud. And I'm like, hey, I want to do that. And he goes, okay. So he's bringing the guy with his hands behind his back over to me. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm supposed to chop. And I was like, you deserve this. Wow. Really hard. He had a handprint. I was like, that was the first time I've ever chopped anybody.
Sorry.
Like, and even after the guy comes up to me, he goes, I want to show you something. I'm like, okay, there was my hand.
That's fun.
And I said, that was my first time. He goes,
It would have been a great story if you were like, and we've been together ever since.
Yeah.
That'd be funny, yeah.
No.
That's how we met.
Yeah. But yes, don't do things unless you're invited to do them.
Just a general great rule in life, you know, don't be a fuckhead unless you're invited to be a
Yeah, unless you're asked.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, yeah, I don't think I had anything else on GCW specifically. It was just a cool time. Enjoy people going out. I want to see Stackhouse out in the LA area. That'd be nice. Ran into a buddy of mine and Klump's, Eli Rosenberg.
Oh shit! Really?
He was standing right in front of me on the first night, and at first I was all like, "Look at this dude in his shorts while it's cold out," and I was like, "Is that Eli? That motherfucker always wore shorts." And I was like, "But I thought he lived back in AZ."
No, he moved to LA.
Yeah, he moved to LA and he went to the fucking GCW show. He was wearing shorts, and I was like, I don't know. Then I heard his voice, and I was like, that sounds like him. But if I'm wrong, I'm an asshole if this is not Eli.
I didn't know he was into wrestling. That's fucking cool.
And then I heard him say, because someone asked him about something, like one of the buddies with him, he goes, oh, I always assume positive intent. And I was like, that motherfucker is Eli. And I was like, that's 3 for 3. That's how I knew. And I went, Eli. And he turned around and he goes, oh, shit. And he goes, I told you there was a dude back in Arizona that loved wrestling that used to talk about it. This is that dude. And they're like, you drove out here from Tucson? I was like, fuck yeah. Yeah. His buddy is into wrestling and brought him along to a couple of them to GCW. It was just a fun time. Yeah. It was dope, man. It was a good time. Good time.
Great.
Yeah. And I mean, and you understand what I mean too. And I was all like, oh, if I think I know this person and it's not, then I'm a dick. It's a tough one. And he made the same joke. He made the same joke at me. He was like, need the 3 to confirm. I was like, yes.
Yeah. Well, like, I mean, and with you, what's it going to be like? I mean, you've lost a lot of weight. You were a meatball in the best way of saying it.
No. Oh, yeah. Marsh ball.
Yeah.
I love that phrase.
Yeah, I mean, I'm ready to talk about AEW and NXT if you guys are. I don't know. Or, you know what, right before we talk about that, did either of you catch Vince McMahon on Pat McAfee's show?
I heard about it. I heard that he said he was going to induct Undertaker into the Hall of Fame, which makes the most sense.
Yeah,
like,
it
no
was
one
great.
else can. Yeah.
And he said it may be the hardest thing he ever does.
I can see that because that's.
He said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it was crazy. That he also at one point offered. It was great. He said, "I want to offer you an opportunity to Pat." And he goes, "If you would like to wrestle on WrestleMania in the ring," he goes, "I'm not talking like do something. I'm talking about an actual match in ring on WrestleMania. Is that something you're interested in?" And Pat's all like, "That's a dream come true. Like that's a total dream." He goes, "Of course I would do that." Like, so he offered up McAfee a match, but apart from those two things, which were the quote announcements, it was an hour and a half of Vince McMahon just hanging out, talking to Pat McAfee.
That still might be an amazing thing.
It was amazing. That's exactly the point. That is the amazing bit. Is it wasn't this formulaic interview. It wasn't a clickbait headline seeking interview. It wasn't, hey, what do you think about this thing in the news? What do you think about this thing in the news? Hey, what do you think about this? Like trying to get these quotes. It wasn't any of that. It literally was these two dudes hanging out. Like Pat's got a team there that they were there and they chimed in here and there. But it honestly, there was a while too, because I was like, I put it on before I was going to leave the house. I was like, let me watch it. It's probably going to be like, what, 15, 20 minutes and then he'll bail? An hour and a half. And
hell yeah.
30 minutes in or 40 minutes in, I was kind of like, holy shit, Vince McMahon is just hanging out.
Yeah.
He is legit hanging out. And it's such a fucking, like, it's worth it. If you get an hour and a half of listening to McAfee talk to Vince, I wouldn't say that McAfee was giving him these hard-hitting questions and grilling him, because that's not what it was. It was exposing the brain of Vince McMahon in the most positive ways, which is also nice. They asked straight out about Saudi Arabia. He said, are you seeing a change over there? Like, what are you doing with Saudi Arabia? Like, people want to know. Like, he mentions Aleister Black. He mentions AEW. And at none of these points was Vince kind of like, we're not going to talk about that. The only thing Vince refused to talk about was, he said, because he said that, hey, people think you're a robot and you're going to live forever. Like, that's, people are pretty sure of that, you know? And Vince kind of laughed about it. And he goes, look, I could get hit by a bus tomorrow. And he goes, but if I do, I just want one breath to say thank you for everything.
Yeah.
You know? And in that response, McAfee said, look, I know you said you don't like to like dwell on things or just take a step back and, you know, accept what you've done and all these things. Like, but can you just acknowledge? And like, he started thanking Vince and like, you've changed the world. You've done these things. Like, can I just ask you to just take a moment right now and do that? That's the only thing Vince refused to do. He was all like, I'm not going to do the thing you've asked. And it was funny, but it was also like very real moment in his brain. He won't allow himself to take that step back and I wouldn't say even appreciate, but almost like gloat and almost like he won't allow himself the chance to just take all the credit. You know what I mean? I bet that comes out of like, the dude's been in this for a long time. The dude's been successful.
and you learn like you don't rest on your laurels to get there. He's been victim to many a failure. He's been uh, lucky enough to experience myriads of success.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was gonna real quick. Can I throw out something?
Yeah.
When he said that it's gonna be the hardest thing you can do, in thinking about that, it makes so much sense because the last person wasn't the last person Vince inducted Hulk Hogan.
I think it was Stone Cold.
I thought JR did Stone Cold.
No, Stone Cold did JR.
Gotcha. Okay, but in Hulk Hogan and even in Stone Cold, he never he had these people that had amazing relationships with him, but were complex. You know,
Yes.
Hulk Hogan disappeared and was a large part of his biggest struggles. Stone Cold was one of the greatest characters in WWE history, but a person who at one point truly hurt him as a person, not as a businessman, as a friend.
Yeah.
Undertaker has been a stalwart force in WWE. Since he went in, we've never heard a fight, a contract dispute, nothing. He's never broken it. He has been a consummate professional and an amazing figure in WWE. Only now we're hearing about various things he does, and that's something there's something to say there, you know?
Yo, Vince said that at no point ever did Undertaker, and he actually started breaking down the difference between Mark Calloway and Undertaker, and that was fucking great too. He said, I never asked if he had any thoughts about going to WCW, and he goes, and Mark never approached me saying anything about WCW. He goes, the words WCW never exchanged between the two of us during that entire time, which is also an incredible thing when you think about the amount of narrative people talk about, especially like Kevin Nash and Scott Hall talking about it, utilizing, leveraging in contracts. The amount of people who are even saying that AEW existing is a huge benefit for the wrestlers because they can leverage leaving for their contracts. The idea that people even talk about Randy Orton potentially, like he was posting that thing that said Elite on the back of him. It's like, oh, look at Randy Orton's leveraging AEW to get a better contract. The idea that Undertaker never even tried to leverage the concept of WCW against Vince McMahon in any way, and was more or less like, hey man, whatever you think is fair, I think is fair.
And he could have done that. There's lots of arguments to do that. Him and Vince are both very aware of his stock, and he could have done that. He could have made that argument.
Yeah.
And that he never did is rather amazing.
It's incredible, man. Incredible.
He'll probably induct Cena.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they got to do that soon just in case something happens. But yeah, because I don't see anyone else inducting Cena but him.
Yeah. That's a good point. Kurt
The
Angle,
only other person I could think of that would do Cena would be like Edge.
Really?
Or Ric Flair.
No.
Or Ric Flair ain't going anywhere near WWE. Well, the 16-time thing.
Yeah. I could see Kurt Angle doing it. I could see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, we got time to speculate on that, but the idea that Vince is going to be inducted Undertaker is pretty damn cool. Sprinter Fox coming through. Ding Dong Logo says, I bet his dad will. Seeing his dad. I could see that, actually. I could see that. Yeah. I don't know. It's good stuff, man. And that interview was just dope. I know Conrad Thompson and Something to Wrestle With, Bruce Pritchard. Conrad said it over and over again that one of the things that's made that show such a success over some of the other ones is because it's the closest we ever get to the mind of Vince McMahon is the mind of Bruce Pritchard, because he's been the right-hand man to Vince for so many years that he either A, was there when Vince was talking out loud, or B, has probably been influenced enough by Vince McMahon to, if not understand, at least agree with. You know what I mean? Like, I think, realistically speaking, we now have an hour and a half of actual Vince McMahon brain, and that's fucking cool. I saw some people saying that they felt like some of it was kind of guarded and that he was towing the line between character and real, and I'll be honest, I didn't get that impression at all. I really got the impression that he came in, sat down, and was like, hey, Pat, let's talk. I think Vince had an idea of things he wanted to bring up. Like when he brought up the offer for WrestleMania, it was at a really, I wouldn't say inopportune time, but he interrupted somebody who was asking him a question to say, actually, I want to do this instead. He went there with that thought in mind that he wanted to do this and saw a point where he goes, actually, it'll be fine to do now. And I think that the announcement of Undertaker was what he had planned. I don't think anything else was... It didn't come off as though anything else was on the docket and something to say. It was cool. It was cool and definitely worth listening to anybody who wants to listen to one of the most fascinating people talk to one of the most charismatic people that we have in the business right now. Like, really fun spot that is all over the place. So if you can follow on social media, you've already seen it because I've tweeted it out. But at one point, Pat McAfee says Michael Cole's been there for like 25 years, and Vince immediately goes, horrible person. He is a horrible person. And it was so fucking funny. I was all like, he's a Bailey stan. Confirmed Bailey stan. It was awesome. But yeah, and he had a good humor about stuff too. Like, it was amazing. But yeah, so there was that. Definitely worth checking out. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we hit AEW?
Mm-mm.
All right. So
Jump
we can
into
go. Go ahead. Yeah. So we can go from a very dynamic public speaker and leader and incredible business mind to the coked up railings and rantings of Tony Khan making his childlike sugar high Adderall laced announcement that he now owns Ring of Honor and there's no shame. No shame. Just me. He doesn't know how mics work for one.
He doesn't even really know how wrestling works for one.
Well, he yells at the mic so much that I'm all like, it's a weird projection. But either way, he owns Ring of Honor. And I think the potential for that is fucking great. I think the idea of someone who has the resources he has to have that library is phenomenal. I think there's so much potential. Well, I guess let me see what you guys think about it first before I tell you where some of the conversations I've had recently come around with. I'll start with Klump because Amanda just took a bite of some food and I don't want to be rude and make her spit it out or anything. Klump, what do you think? Tony Khan owns Ring of Honor, ROH, Ring of Honor.
It's terrible. Like, I appreciate what they're doing. I think it's an amazing idea. I think it's cool. It's going to be good for them. However, his promo ruins it. Like his promo, it sounds like the most hyped up and excited, kid jumping out there who didn't, it's somebody who's excited about their story, thinks they can wing the presentation in class and fails it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it sounded like a kid who invites all of his friends over because he wants to share something, and it's a one-player game that he bought for himself because he has that kind of money. He came off super fucking billionaire in that regard. But the announcement itself, I think, is cool. I don't think that's necessarily the platform. You don't see Vince McMahon coming out being like, hey guys, I've got a deal with Peacock. Here comes Roman Reigns. Like, what the fuck? Like, it was weird. Like, here's the other thing. When Vince said, I bought WCW.
Yeah.
It was as a heel.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like, he came out and said, I own my competition. And everyone went, boo, you heel. And then when Shane said, I got it, everyone cheered because fuck Vince McMahon. Because he was a heel. Like, this was such a heel thing to do. I just don't think Tony needs to be out there making these announcements in this fashion. I don't think that it's a bad thing inherently. But like you said, he just fucking rattles in such a way where you're kind of like following along, but you're also kind of like going, you sound like a kid. Like,
yeah, you're like, are you okay, man? Like, is everything okay? You sound like you're a little bit too overhyped. You've had too much apple juice.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the announcement's cool, but the other thing is, like, the way he wanted to do it, like, when Vince bought... Like, that's the other thing, is he's such a fanboy in the idea, oh, I want to do what Vince did when he bought WCW. I bought ROH. I could do the same thing. Well, there's a huge, massive difference. For one, like I said, Vince was a heel. For two, WCW was beating the shit out of WWF at the time.
Yeah.
That he said, I own my competition. I bought my competition. I won. If you're projecting that Ring of Honor was your competition,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean?
It's weird.
It's
Yeah.
weird.
Well, and also, we've not seen a lot of success in them splitting up what they're doing. So, splitting focus further, I'm kind of worried about that, you know?
We'll see. I think, let's see. Amanda, what do you think about it?
First of all, not shocked. I think I called this on episode 1.
You said it a while ago.
I said it a long while ago. Now, here's the thing. There's a couple things that people need to think about, which I don't think anyone really has. Number one, Ring of Honor TV. Is Sinclair out of the picture?
Yes.
Now,
Yeah, he
I
bought it from
think
him.
because okay.
Yeah, they got rid of Sinclair.
Okay, so now that Sinclair is gone, what are they going to do? Because Ring of Honor did have, as sucky as it was, they did have a TV presence. Internet show.
I imagine some of it was leveraging that in what they're doing. They have a TV presence, they have a web presence, and that's not unfair to say. Now, also, I don't imagine it was a very expensive purchase.
No.
$35 million.
That much?
$35 million?
Yeah, it's $35 million. I could have won Powerball, right? And bought Ring of Honor myself.
Holy shit.
That's too much.
Ring of Honor fucking scored huge on that one. That was way more than they even bought WCW for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
they lost all their talent.
Yeah.
Remember?
And they didn't even have talent. Ring of Honor is nothing but a name and a ring apron right now.
Well, no, that library that no one can watch right now.
Well, yeah,
That's
there's
where
a
the
library.
Mm-hmm. But Tony
but-
Khan got rooked. $35 million. Yeah.
That's insane. That's incredible. Fucking good on them.
That's
But like,
drop in the bucket, though. I mean,
well, and then
like
Cody couldn't get $3 million.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I'm sorry, we have to save. Now, what also is very curious about this is look at the lineup for the Super Card of Honor coming up in Dallas. Ninja Mac is on there. Swerve was announced. I'm trying to remember who else was announced. But I'm going to pick on Swerve.
Yeah.
Swerve, everyone's like, oh, he's going to AEW. Going to AEW. I was like, I don't know, because they would have already done it.
Mm-hmm.
But lo and behold, here's this show that, it's like, you don't have a roster anymore. You got rid of everybody. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I think that contract is going,
But that's also bad, right? So, like, because Splinter Fox is saying a rumor that he's heard a lot. I've seen other people too. Ring of Honor is potentially going to be the NXT developmental to build future AEW stars. If that's true, you don't put Swerve in a fucking developmental.
No.
He's past that, especially when you consider the rest of the Ring of Honor cast outs and stuff and whoever they got left. They got nobody left. So he's going to fill that however he wants.
If they're going to use it as a developmental for AEW, who the fuck... What are they going to develop into? There's not the people we already see on the show. We're like, yeah, I don't know if this person needs to be on national fucking television. Like,
what's that mean? And Swerve's ready for national television. Like, you don't put Swerve in Ring of Honor if that's the case. I'll be honest. My thought, I think that, well, for one, I think that having that tape library is huge because I think that AEW by itself was not. They haven't made the big streaming deal because they can't. They would have. You know what I mean? They weren't sought after in that same way because they don't have a library. Ring of Honor by itself was also not sought after because they don't have a big stage now. And they didn't even when they went bankrupt. They were relatively... even when they started, they weren't considered the number 2 promotion. They've always been considered like a top indie spot, but they were never, even TNA and Impact have always been slotted as bigger than them, right? So I think together, those powers combined, a 20-year tape library of current talent plus the current tape library of AEW and the potential of AEW could be something a company would want a hold of. You know what I mean?
Like, to me, it makes me think of, like, it sounds like a situation where somebody, we know WWE is looking at this, and Tony Khan, I would put money on, or my suspicion is, he threw out a number so large that nobody else was going to do it because it's a stupid amount of money.
That's a good point.
That really seems like an obscene amount of money. It's like, yeah, if somebody loves cars, yeah, you're trying to buy a nameplate to add to your large car company, like when Ford wanted to buy Ferrari. I get it, that's really prestigious, but then Ford wouldn't offer like the same amount of money to buy a really small boutique manufacturer like Bizzarini or something like that. It's like, why would you do this unless, well, we want to make sure nobody else buys it. And yeah, they have a long history and tape library that could be what they're looking at and trying to leverage that, but I don't know.
I honestly think, because a lot of people are talking about it being in its own show, it being its own developmental. People are talking about, is AEW Dark just going to be rebranded ROH? If I have to put my thinking hat on, I think realistically they're going to leave everything AEW kind of as it is. They're going to try to leverage the tape library to get onto a streaming service as saying we have 20-year history of not only AEW stars, but WWE stars. So basically, if you're getting us, you're getting a WWE vault that they don't even have a hold of. Like, I mean, that's a pitch that's believable and smart. Like, it'd be good. But I think what we'll see is more like when TNA started and they brought on the NWA lineage. I think the biggest issue here is that AEW's been attaching themselves foundationally to WCW and NWA, and now they have Ring of Honor. So now they're going to start, I swear to God, all their stories are going to start shifting to when I was in Ring of Honor and back in the Ring of Honor days, and they're going to change the whole
100%.
foundation. Yeah. Yep. It's going to shift from being, for the first time ever on TNT, which, by the way, when Tony said for the first time ever at Daly's Place, I was like, what a fucking Vince McMahon thing to say. Because remember how much we laughed at WWE when they say first time ever matchup for like a year, everything was a first time ever. To say for the first time ever Bryan Danielson and Christopher Daniels at Daly's Place, I was like, that's a forced first time ever. That's a WWE move, dude. I know it when I see it.
I mean,
I think they're going to bring in the titles the way that TNA had the NWA tag titles and world title as a mid-card title. Because they've been really prancing around the idea of not having too many titles, but needing more titles. They're going to bring in the ROH stuff. They'll have probably the ROH Pure title, the ROH tag titles, probably an ROH women's title to create these other tiers.
And a trios.
So if every match on a pay-per-view card is a title match, they're all important?
That's what I mean. It doesn't work because we saw it when WWE brought in NWA. We saw it when TNA was doing the NWA stuff. I think even the idea of WWE ECW could be a closer bet on what we see with AEW ROH. Spinner Fox says another rumor is WWE and ROH were in talks at the beginning when ROH was selling the library. It came close, but it never happened. Yeah, and I think it's like what Klump said. I bet you Tony made a ridiculous offer. I bet you they were talking like that $2 to $5 million range, and I bet you Tony was like, "I'll give you $35 million," and the Ring of Honor was like, hey,
sure.
WWE, do you want to spend $40 million on it? And WWE was all like, no, not at all. Like, we're using it as a fucking back catalog. Like, no. But I think AEW desperately needed that foundational lineage. And this one Fox says, rumor has HBO Max was the AEW on demand, so they didn't need ROH for a stream service. But it still hasn't come out. You know what I mean? Like, hasn't happened. If they keep saying ROH, it's going to piss me off so much. I love how Brian said this is not ROH, this is AEW. I was happy for that. Yeah. I think the way that they've been talking about WCW as their historical stuff, it's been 25 years since you've been on TNT, and now it's all TBS. Oh, it's been 5 years since TBS. Like, now you're going to start hearing, it's been this many years since they battled at ROH. It's what's going to happen. They need. That's been the biggest issue AEW's had as far as like these storylines that could be larger is they've got no backstory or back catalog to dip into. This is it now. This is their foundation, which I also think is smart and cool in a lot of ways. But we'll see. Go ahead.
Well, I have other thoughts about it too.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the thoughts that I have with it is obviously you have champions that have belts. Deonna Purrazzo is the women's champion. Forgot all about that. The Briscoes are their tag team champions.
Mm-hmm.
Rhett Titus is the television champion.
Mm-hmm.
Vincent Bateman, and I can't remember the other dude's name, is your trios title.
Yeah.
And the champ is
Gresham is the pure champ.
He's the pure champ, but the other champ,
Was it Matt Sydal they put it back on? No. Was it Taven?
no, Matt Sydal's never had it.
Did they put it back on Taven? I thought they put it back on somebody right at the last day.
No. Fuck no. Oh God, no. They know that was the demise of Ring of Honor. Come on now.
Or
No.
did they put it back on Lethal? They put it on somebody right before the end. Was it
Actually,
Lethal?
let me see. Hold on.
Right on the last show. But I will say this: when TNA bought out NWA, or actually it was a partnership thing with NWA, they just straight up stripped the title off of Severn and said, "Yeah, we just don't want Severn." And I think you're going to see a lot more of that than you think. I don't think that what definitely did not happen. Tony did not acquire talent.
Mm-hmm.
He acquired
He
the
waited.
library.
He acquired a library and an IP because, and I think this was all purposeful too, because I saw a lot of people going like, "Oh, look at what he got together this week." No. This has been months, and this has been going on.
Yeah.
And I think remember how all of a sudden ROH said, "Hey, we're gonna have to close shop for the foreseeable future." And they said, "But big stuff is coming." And then he said, "Now we're releasing every single talent at the end of the year." I think that was all part of the conversation with Tony. I think Tony offered to buy up the stuff, didn't want any of the talent, cut all your talent, get rid of them, and I'll give you this fat ass fucking check. I don't believe for a second that he wants that talent or he would have them. Those people are all on the market now. And whether or not you bring in the Briscoe brothers as ROH champions or not, they should have been signed already, and they're not.
Yeah.
The only thing stopping him is the desire to have those talent. I don't think we're getting... I think he's just going to end up with ROH titles on his show. He's going to ask for it. Because I even see Spinnerfox says, "I'm calling it now. Rosa wins the AEW title and we get Britt versus Deonna for the ROH title." I don't think we do, because we had Deonna as the Impact Women's Champion the whole time the Forbidden Door was happening, and we never even got close to Britt and Deonna before. He could have done it then. He had they had the relationship there to do that match before, and he didn't even try. Like, he doesn't want those talent.
Oh, we were wrong, by the way.
Go ahead.
Gresham does not have the pure championship anymore. He's the world champion.
Oh, okay.
The one who has it is Josh the Good Woods has the pure championship. So
Okay.
just
Yeah,
so,
Gresham won
you
on
know,
the final
I know
pay-per-view.
People are gonna, get mad at us,
Spinnerfox says Britt is Tony's girl and would K4 just for her. No, he doesn't want to pay Deonna for some reason.
No.
But it's not a Britt thing. But also, I don't think Britt would want to lose the world title and say, "Oh, let me take this other company's title that's gone bankrupt."
No.
Like, it's just, I don't think it's like, I get what you're saying, and I get that you want the match. I know a lot of people do. I think it's a stretch to think that that's what Tony's going for. Go ahead, Amanda.
Well, the other thing about this is very interesting because a lot of the people who are at and contracted with Ring of Honor, well, actually, excuse me, AEW, were also with Ring of Honor and left. So you've got your Lethal, your Seidel.
Yeah, he already signed the ones he wanted.
A lot of them. And so
He signed Danhausen. He signed who
Oh,
he
yeah,
wanted.
Danhausen. Yeah, that's another one. And it's funny to me because the Bucks today had tweeted something about, can't remember the exact quote they said, but I had to
They're
laugh
muted
at
on my
it.
timeline, so I don't know.
Okay, I'll tell you.
They've never said a thing I've ever found interesting. While you look that up, Spinnerfox to say, "Well, if Rosa don't win this Sunday, I'm going to be totally pissed off already." I'm going to be honest with you. I know a lot of AEW fans who said it's time for Rosa. Just watching how this show played out with Thunder getting that definitive win over Britt in that tag match.
It's time for Rosa.
Man. Say what?
It's
time. They should. I don't think he will.
Unfortunately, I agree with you there.
You know what I think's going to happen? Just to watch everyone go nuts, I'm going to throw it out there. I'm going to put it in the universe, Ricky Bobby. I think Thunder's going to lose that match. I think Jade Cargill's going to be the first double champion. I think Jade Cargill's going to take that title off of Britt. What'd you find on the tweet there, Amanda?
Okay. This was actually on Instagram. So sorry.
Okay.
So it's a picture of the Jackson brothers at Cracker Barrel in the rocking chairs. And the quote is, "The more things change, the more they stay the same." So that's probably alluding to the whole Ring of Honor thing, I'm sure. Now, it's interesting because I had this thought. What if Cody is going to be the EVP of Ring of Honor?
I think that would be terrible.
I know that would be terrible, but they're saying that the talks with him and WWE aren't going anywhere. I think it's dead in the water.
I like the people who speculated it was because the neck tattoo was a stop, and I was like, that's not the fucking.
No. No.
But
stupid. But anyways,
the reason I think it would be dumb is because Tony just came out and said, "I own Ring of Honor now." So now if Ring of Honor opens up with Cody, well, we know Tony owns it. So now it was a stupid fucking storyline that this contract thing ran out, and it was a dick move. Like, it would make the whole thing goofy. And I don't think either people need that.
No, 100%.
But Tony Khan is goofy, and he just shows the world that he cannot book for shit. It's part of it with it. Yeah. I also think that with this library, because look at the AEW catalog. Can you think of one match that you would totally are dying to watch it again if you had it on a streaming service?
For AEW?
Mm-hmm.
There's literally only one match. The Double or Nothing Rhodes Brothers. That's the only match I really want to see again because I haven't seen it since it aired live. And I do want to watch that again. But I agree with you. There's no other match that even comes close to me wanting to see again. Or even the matches that I didn't see because I haven't watched a lot of their pay-per-views. None of those I don't have the desire.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to relive the sprinkler incident? I don't. I'm sure Kingston doesn't want to do it either, but whatever. And I mean, there's nothing of great value with it. So
because I've also been figuring it out. In defense, like there's a lot of stuff the first couple years of WWE, like even the first episodes of Raw. I don't like to go back and rewatch a ton of that. I mean, some of the Jeff Jarrett and 1 2 3 Kid matches are fucking killer, but like, and then early on you had Brett versus 1 2 3 Kid. But I mean, like even then, like, in fairness to AEW, they're very young still, and so they were figuring it out definitely for sure. The first couple of years, a lot of like, I don't know. So I agree, but I will, for the sake of Splinter Fox, not go too hard on them for that one. But I agree.
Well, I'll just say this, and my other thing, because I do agree with the whole narrative of, the first time since Ring of Honor, la la la.
Yeah.
Does this not, and I'm going to say this again, does this now not give me more ammunition for fucking Cabana and fucking Punk? I'm sorry. They were best friends during that time. They have an epic, 2-hour shoot interview, which is fucking great.
Yeah.
Come on. It's going to happen, and that's how Tony can spin it. So
the irony of it, too. It gives you a ton of
said it a long
ammunition.
time ago. Still saying it. And don't think I'm crazy or, obsessed with it, because it's going to happen.
Doesn't make you either. I mean, just even if it does happen, it doesn't make you neither crazy or obsessed. I'm just be honest. I'm trying to be fair.
Well, but you know what? It means I'm fucking Nostradamus, and I'm fucking booking this shit myself. They want to know who the real booker is of AEW.
Yeah.
Speaking of bookers, I know this is a sore subject. For me, it's a very sore subject. Now that Ring of Honor was purchased, who's going to get the book?
That's just it. Is I don't think it's going to be a standalone thing. I think Ring of Honor is disposed of. I think it's much more like TNA having NWA or WWE having ECW than it is its standalone thing. I don't think it's not a secondary promotion he's running. He's gonna run it under his own umbrella. I really do. There's nothing about anything he said in that press release that makes me think, hey, it's going to be a touring company on its own.
No, I'm not saying that. No. But it'll have at least like some kind of television or streaming kind of opportunity. I'm just saying because
the potential's there. I don't think they will.
The former booker who was released a year ago, I want to see the former booker shit. Because when he was the booker, that's why you have the Pure Championship. That's why you have a lot of these other cast of characters. What I do not want to see, and I really hope to God, is there's some people I do not want to come back to Ring of Honor.
There is no Ring of Honor right now. That's what I mean.
Or whatever it's called. AEOH, I don't know.
Well, that's what I mean is that I think that there's a whole lot of speculation on what Ring of Honor is going to look like right now. And I think that just as a fan base, we got to step back and say, what does owning Ring of Honor look like right now? Because those are not the two same conversations. This isn't a standalone thing. It's not like you and I just bought Ring of Honor. What are we going to do with it? AEW, Tony Khan. I know. Oh, yeah, I know. But that'd be a whole other thing. This isn't a standalone thing. This is somebody who's running a wrestling company that has just acquired the IP of an older company. Mm-hmm. It's not the idea. I don't believe that there's hey, your old ROH tickets are still good for that. No. Until that comes out, that's not what we're looking at. You know what I mean?
Hey, they owe me a front row in Las Vegas.
Well, I don't think Tony Khan's good on bets. Let's see. Splinter Fox real quick. Hit in the chat. I'm not going to hit all these because he's always derailing us, that Splinter Fox. He goes, I got a feeling Rosa not winning as well. Yeah, dude, my gut tells me she's not going to win, and she should. That's my gut. I just really feel if she wins, I'll be so fucking thrilled. Thunder Rosa, she's my number one. You guys know that. I drove out to L.A. just to see her and X-Pac wrestle. Let's see. He goes, Cody runs ROH, LOL. And he goes, Vince is like, I'll sign you, but you have to get that dumb tattoo removed. That's funny. That's what I mean. People think that, man. And I just don't see that being a point of contention of what the fuck? I just doesn't. He also says AEW won't be here by 2027. I'm calling it, and he says I think it was a bad move. Certain Fox does say, "Oh, Amanda, you should have seen Colt rated a person on Twitch, and that didn't know who Colt was, but knew AEW and told the raiders to type CM Punk, and everybody was like, no, reverse the raid. It was crazy." So he went to go raid a channel, and he goes, "Oh, I don't know who Colt is, but you're from AEW," knew who AEW was, and goes, "Oh, everyone say CM Punk, CM Punk." And Colt's like, "What the fuck?" Sounds awesome.
Colt's probably fuming. Oh my God.
You just went in there and blocked that person. All right, well, I'm never raiding this dude again. Yeah.
He's like, "Is that Amanda fucking with me?" No. But
you know what's ironically? So remember the Madison Square Garden Ring of Honor show, the All In show?
All In or MSG?
The MSG happened right before All In, right? Or right after? It was right after. Yeah, that's what it was. So, because this is what it was. I remember seeing a lot of this narrative too. I've heard people say that the Young Bucks are a very manipulative couple of people, and that the booking of the Ring of Honor Madison Square Garden show was on the foundation of the Elite, Young Bucks and Cody and their storylines. That they go and they do All In using all of Ring of Honor's resources, and then leave with Tony to do AEW, and pulled out of the MSG show. So their tickets for MSG show started not only not selling, but came to a halt, and then people started trying to flip their tickets. People didn't want to go anymore. That the Young Bucks had leveraged Ring of Honor into actually slingshotting themselves away from Ring of Honor, and actually used and abused Ring of Honor. And I've heard a lot of people even speculate at that point that Ring of Honor struggled to maintain even viewership in general because they had put so much effort and so much of their programming behind them as their top guys, that when they left so abruptly, that everyone just said, "Oh, all these top guys from here are here now. We'll just watch this over here." So I've even seen people say that the issues Ring of Honor was having as far as staying open to begin with, I mean, apart from pandemic being obviously what it was, could be traced back to Young Bucks manipulating and taking advantage of Ring of Honor. So part of me thinks that there's a crazy poetic irony in the Young Bucks may have inadvertently actually partaken in the demise of Ring of Honor and subsequently the purchase by Tony Khan. I don't think it was an intentional thing by any means, and I'm not making that distinction here now because I'm not a contract guy, but I have heard those narratives go around and thought, oh, what an interesting concept. I don't know enough about it. Can you imagine though if all that stuff is true?
First of all, we're wrong.
Okay.
All In came first, 2018.
That's what I said. It came first.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I said All In was first, and they leveraged that with the MSG show, and then they left before the MSG show, and that's why the MSG show struggled. Is because they were the pillars of their TV, and then they were suddenly pulled out because they just said we're leaving.
I don't know. I don't buy that. I really just don't. Only because of the fact that, everybody knew that it was no secret when their contract was up. Everybody knew. So it's like, where are they going to go? The WWE didn't want them. They're not going to go to Impact or TNA or whatever it was at the time. So I don't see them, because they're really family guys. I didn't see them going just exclusively with New Japan. Because even then with New Japan, they didn't go back after that. That was the last, I think that December, or maybe it was the Tokyo Dome was the last one. But don't know, can't remember. A lot of wrestling in these years. But I really feel that there was a lot of things going on. You had Cody, like we can't forget Cody, how instrumental he was in all of this too. Oh yeah. People seem to forget that. And it was a big deal. Like that whole little group, Kenny, everybody, you except for probably the minor players like Hangman and Marty and whatever. But the major players, which were those four, are really all the ones that were they held the cards. And Kenny, he wouldn't have gone back, but he could have been a leverage point. But I really do think that I don't think that it went down that way. I think it more of went down as, and if you believe it or not, but as they were saying, like, because at the time, indie wrestling had just gotten really, really big in that end of 2017, beginning of 2018. All their shit was in, Hot Topic, all of these things. So it really was more of that, can we do this? And they did. But people also forget that Tony Khan was there. Yeah. So, that was the catapult to where AEW is now. They knew they could do it. You could do it once. It's like lightning in a bottle. You can do it again, as long as you put the lid back on, So I'm feeling that, I wouldn't say the Bucks are responsible for that. There are quite a few people who are responsible. And, it is what it is. And ROH, what was their thing to, what was their follow-up with it is they sold all these tickets. Yeah, you were promising at the G1 Supercard, you were promising, the Bucks and all of these things. Didn't happen. I think what ended up being was the two people who were the marquee people after the Bucks left and stuff was Marty was on one of the cards, on the whatever they are, the poster. And I want to say it was Okada. But I could be wrong. But either way, that's what they were banking on. Now, what ended up happening, that's their fault, because they shit the bed with that one. They shit the bed with this bullshit that they were trying to do undercover with Big Cass and Enzo. Okay? Because nobody knew except for the Briscoes and somebody whoever else. And that title match with the three-way, the ladder, wrong guy won. And I'm not saying this because it should have been Marty. It should have been Marty. And the only reason why he became the booker is because there was nothing else for him. There was nothing else.
Yeah.
But he had to stay because visa issues. He wants to live in the States, you know? So that's why he didn't go to ring.
Was that the Young Bucks were
ROH.
leveraging that they were going to be re-signing, and then that's why they were still pillars and all that build-up, and then they just ultimately did not re-sign, and that really screwed ROH heavily. As
I think I don't think they got the money they wanted.
Yeah, well, I think that they said they were going to re-sign, and then I think that they never intended to, and they were going to be going with Tony the whole time, and they were leading ROH on, and I think that, I mean, that's my understanding. I don't know. I'm not fucking there.
We don't know. We don't know.
Whatever it is what it is. And I think with Marty, the reason he didn't go to AEW at the time was that he was offered the book at Ring of Honor and thought he could make a big difference there. Plus the visa thing, like I think that his intention was to be bigger.
That was definitely the thing, was the visa thing. And I know that he was supposed to win that title because at the time, and I don't care what people feel about him now, but at the time he was fucking red hot.
Yeah.
Everyone went nuts for him.
Yeah.
You know, and that was a person that he was going to be the one next to carry it.
Yeah.
But they fucked up.
Was. And it all got.
So, yeah.
Spinner Fox does say Triple H wanted them all really bad at the time. Young Bucks and Omega were going to get up to the main roster, and Page was going to go to NXT and get a major push. I don't know. I mean, I've only heard that from like Bucks and Omega, and I don't really believe those guys very much. I feel like they lie a lot. Like, so I don't know.
Like
which
Dave
is possible.
Meltzer thing.
I wouldn't. Yeah, it's like a Dave and Bucks thing. Like I don't know. It's maybe. I mean, I don't have a reason to believe it. The same, I don't have a reason to not believe it. It's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, maybe. As Twitter Fox says, but Omega was going to join Jericho and Impact. But Tony changed all kinds of events that were about to happen. There could have been a Disney Plus What If series. Yeah, like I believe that. Like the idea of all these things could have happened. Maybe it's tough to tell who to believe in a lot of these narratives too, because everyone stems to benefit from the belief of these things, regardless of the truth of the things, right? Like if Bucks say, "Oh, WWE wanted us really bad. They were going to pay us a shitload and give us a massive push when we get there," then they just look better. Like everyone goes, "Oh yeah, see, they didn't get them," like because this is where, you know what I mean? Like they only tend to benefit from that. Than if they say, "Oh yeah, they really didn't offer us anything, so it was either Ring of Honor or this." Like, you know what I mean? There's no. So that's why it's hard for me to just believe it unless I hear it from other sources, and they're the only ones I've heard say that. So it's just like I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. And Twin Fox says, COVID really hurt Ring of Honor. NJPW was their main thing if you can't bring back NJPW talent to the States. So, yeah, they got crushed by COVID.
Well, but NJPW, they pissed them off. Okay. I don't know if a lot of you know this, but the ref, Tiger Hattori.
Yeah.
Okay. He retired. That was supposed to be his retirement match at Madison Square Garden. And all that bullshit and shenanigans happened to eclipse it. So New Japan was pissed because they were like, what the fuck is this? You know, nobody knew. They didn't even know. So, because when you watch it and you go back, you could see there's a clip someone had filmed where they're filming Brody and PCO and they're going up the ramp. Like, what the fuck is, what the fuck is going on? And then you have Evil and Sonata that are just like clueless and they just kind of rush them away. So, they really disrespected New Japan. And New Japan, I think, was, you know what? Fuck this shit. So that's why they started their relationship with CMLL. So that's why we got all these luchadors in there, because they fucked up.
Maybe all of this, maybe he purchased Ring of Honor so he has a way to bring in Enzo and Cass. Maybe that's what this is. We're getting Enzo and Cass in AEW. What do you think, Klump?
No.
Please no.
No. It would have happened already.
They might be the first tag champs over at CYN. Go ahead, Klump.
I know Cass has done apparently a lot to get better, but
yes.
No. Like, and I don't really ever want to see Enzo again. I'm not. Just he was a decent mic, but he got so full of himself. I'm done with that.
I agree. And you know what? To be honest, I agree with you in the sense that if Cass shows up by himself, I'm a lot more excited than if he shows up with Enzo. I feel like Cass has done a lot. William Mahoney has done a ton of work on himself, self-reflection. I've seen a bunch of great interviews with him opening up about the mental health and the drinking problems he's had and how healthy he's gotten. And we've talked about it before. There's accountability and there's cancellation, right? And he's an accountability guy where people held him accountable and he responded accordingly and has gotten better and grown. And 100% seeing Cass out there doing his thing, SWE and such, great. If he did pop up, it actually wouldn't bother me as much as seeing him with Enzo. I think Enzo would water him down. I think he's done enough on his own to stand on his own, you know? So I'll say that. Spinnerfox says, I can't trust Cody anymore after what Brian said. What did Brian say about Cody? He said Cody... Cody thought Brian taught Brian how to lie and lie a lot more often. That lying is fun, what Cody told Brian, so now whatever Cody says, it's like real or fake. I have no idea what you're talking about at all, or even what Brian you're talking about. Is that Brian Danielson said something about Cody? And then Spin Fox says, Klump, why do you care? You don't like AEW anyways. He inherently wants to. And that's the
I got hired to like AEW, you piece of shit. Don't tell me how to do my job.
On your check, is it signed by Tony Khan? No.
You get checks?
Don't tell him about your checks, Amanda.
Sorry.
We've been through this.
I mean, at this point, I want wrestling to be better, and I want AEW to succeed. Because I have 2 Cody Rhodes, one of which I'm sorry I haven't painted yet. I got pretty much everything Hot Topic and Funko made for the Elite. I have all of the pins for the Elite. I bought shit like crazy for the Bullet Club at that time.
Oh, yeah.
I was one of the fanboys who was way into like this being a thing that changed wrestling and got me into it.
You were texting me like crazy when all that stuff happened. The announcement happened, and you were live texting me. Oh my God, Jericho's like boom, boom, boom. Like it was great. I was like, this is so great because Klump knows these guys and I don't, and he's so fucking in love here. I was so excited. So yeah, I'm excited because of your excitement.
Funko of Marty. I was waiting for that.
It would have been a good one too. The way they do pops and the way
I know what
it could have been cool.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Anything else you guys want to say about Ring of Honor? I mean, I think the potential here is incredible. I think combining Ring of Honor with AEW is actually a more sellable product than either thing by itself. So I think the idea of that ending up on a streaming service is more imminent than ever. So I think it's great. But I think also at the end of the day, the story of AEW is consistently the same. The potential here is fantastic. How will this execute is the concern. So we just don't know.
Yep.
My notes say with Ring of Honor, we need to see Shane Taylor Promotions get a great push because there's a lot of good hosses on, AEW's roster, and that would be phenomenal. Not to mention that Shane Taylor, that's his old ROH tag partner, Keith Lee.
Nice. Spinner Fox says, I'm not hyped about Con Man getting ROH. I'm hyped about the potential, but go ahead, Amanda. And then when you finish that thought, talk about what else you liked on AEW, and I'll be right back.
Okie dokie. And the other is, please do not sign Matt Taven. Please don't do that.
He's not signing anyone. That's
if he does, I don't want him coming back. No, far away.
Taven
Stay on
CYN.
Stay on Impact.
Who is that one? That one guy who was like a 1970s disco person that came out with a bunch of people with him.
Oh, Dalton Castle?
Yeah, sign him. I liked him. He was cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's finally starting to do some indie dates.
Hell yeah.
But the problem with Dalton Castle is he has really bad back issues.
Oh, buddy.
He's very injury prone. And the original boys, the Tate twins, they're going to be in the Crockett Cup, but it's better with them instead of some random Joe Schmoes,
Randos.
But anyways, so going into the AEW show, honestly, there was some good things. There were some bad things. That opening match, it's like, how do you follow up that, that news?
Yeah.
I was kind of, in a way, I was kind of frustrated because I'm like, okay, you just dropped a big nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
Whoever
Yeah.
is coming after this, it's got to be something that's damn fucking good. And if I remember correctly, let's see, what was after it? Was it Bryan Danielson?
It was Bryan Danielson and Chris Daniels. Now, here's
Yeah.
my only issue with that is that the reason Christopher Daniels hasn't wrestled since that final match he had with who was it? Was it Lance? Who was he? Or was it Elite guys?
He was tagging with Frankie, and it was SCU, and he was wrestling. They were wrestling the Bucks.
He had a.
And if they
final
lost, he
match.
retired.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what it was. But
Mm-hmm.
they fucking destroyed his eye. If you look at him in like even interviews now, his eye's like a black red, like the whole thing. Like they blew out all the vessels in his eye. He got seriously injured in there. So it was almost like timely where like he had to fucking retire because he's mostly blind in that eye. So I wasn't thrilled to see him back in the ring right now because knowing that, I'm like, fuck, man, like leave him alone. But at the same time, those two dudes will be safe with each other as best they can, and he doesn't have to do crazy shit. So
yeah, and it's great. It's nostalgia to see the two who headlined the first ROH, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But most of these people weren't even that are watching. Some of your fan base wasn't even born then.
Yeah, that's true. Most of them probably.
And the other ones that were, I don't think they remember from Mom's Basement or nobody. Because I'll tell you, back in that days, the only people who really cared about it were those people who got to see it live, because they were running in like Pennsylvania and, wherever in the Northeast. So that's where, I wasn't hyped about it because I'm like, I didn't watch early Ring of Honor, so that's where that kind of leads for me with it. But,
well, let's skip around a little bit.
It was good to have Mox come out though before this match this weekend.
Yeah, to square off a little bit, to do the face down, I think was fine. It's been kind of static the last couple of weeks, so I felt like we haven't made much progress with it. It just kind of is what it is. Let's see.
How do you think it's going to go, though? I'm just curious.
The match itself, it's going to be like any other good Intercontinental Championship match that we saw in WWE years ago.
No, I mean, are they going to give it to Bryan?
The win?
Or is Mox going to get it?
I think they're high on Mox.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you're right. I guess when I really look at it, it's one of the matches, one of the few matches that's a little harder to call than most of the matches they ever have because they're pretty high on both of them. Do you think they do a time limit draw? That's some sort of stupid thing and then handshake at the end?
No.
Yeah, I bet you that's what it is. I bet you it's a lame time limit draw.
I don't think Mox can go that long.
It's not going to be a long match. It'll be a 20-minute time limit.
20? Oh.
Yeah, 20-minute time limit, and it'll go to a draw, and then that'll be that, I think.
I don't know.
That's my official prediction. They're not going to let anybody win.
I think if anything, it's probably going to be Mox, so it'll humble Danielson, but I really don't want Mox to win.
Yeah. Spinner Fox says DC is wrestling in NJPW and Indie events as well. I think DC is wearing contact. No, that discoloration's not contact. I saw him in some interviews that have nothing to do with wrestling, and the cameras were closed, and there was not a contact. It's the whites of his eyes are fucked up. Like, you don't wear a contact that covers all that necessarily most of the time. But, dude, it's not. Let's see. He goes, I think this is a weak pay-per-view. Mox and Bryan will join together and help the younger talent, I hope. Yeah, I think, I want that.
I think everybody does.
Yeah.
Everybody did.
The Battle Royal was a mess. I will say though, so I agree with you in that there was like some good stuff and some bad stuff. I think ultimately for me, it was a pretty mediocre to lesser than episode. I think people were just high on some of the good stuff because the good stuff was real good. And I think the people rode that high, to be honest. Like the CM Punk MJF stuff. What'd you think of that?
You know, it was very interesting. And I don't know if you know.
Huh.
But when Punk was shackled to with the dog collar and whatnot.
Yeah.
And when MJF did that promo.
Yeah.
That's the exact same promo that CM Punk did at Ring of Honor. Word for word. So
Really?
if that's not ironic, I don't know what is.
Are you serious?
There's actually, yeah, I'm serious. There's actually a tweet that was tweeted out that people were talking about it. And I was like, I remember that match. And oh yeah, fucking Beta. Okay. Either now it makes me question, is this really like, are they, because I don't think that anyone would dig deep enough. The only nerd who would be Tony Khan, okay, to go find that.
Yeah. But
it's verbatim. And it blows me away because I was like, the fuck? You know, so it throws a little weird monkey wrench into it because now, you know, we know, okay, he's like, the devil made him. Okay, yeah, good for you. Good on you, Max. Good on you.
Yeah. Like
the Burberry shoes. But anyways, I really feel now, because of that promo and it being verbatim, it's leading the doors to open to some other things that ROH nostalgia is going to come back to. Once again, Boom Boom Colt Cabana.
Oh my God.
He either is going to be the one who helps out Punk, saves the day. Punk's going to be grateful, and Cabana's like, no, you and I still have some things to do. Yep.
What was it? It was CM Punk's promo. Was the same promo he cut?
Yeah, CM Punk's promo. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll have to
see what we can dig up on that.
Yeah, no. And
I will say this though, I thought CM Punk had talked way too much. It was getting real wordy and real drawn out, and
he's always wordy and drawn out.
I know, but he also doesn't come off as super sincere. So for me, like the less CM Punk, the better.
What are you talking about?
That's what I mean. He's so fucking forced all the time that it's like, I feel like that when you give him when he has just a couple minutes, it's good enough to keep the story going. But when he just has all this unlimited time, I just check the fuck out. And to be honest, I'm like so behind MJF on this one. I need MJF to win bad. Finn Fox does say he's concerned Trent tore his bicep in the Battle Royal. That would suck, man. He just got back. And he goes, I hope MJF wins. That's what it sounds like. He goes, I hope MJF wins. War Dog needs to win too, and just let them two fucking fight already. Yeah, the Wardlow shit. It's neat. I want MJF to win this one though. I saw someone else saying like, "Oh, look at the bump on CM Punk's head. You know he got it the hard way." And I read that before I watched it, and then as I was watching, you could see him cut himself, and then you see him holding the blade, and then you see what he gets rid of it, and I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like, he's doing the old jab shit that swells it up all weird instead of just doing the cut. But either way, a lot of blood, pretty cool, pretty emotional. I'm in on the concept of this match. I won't bother trying to see the match, but I definitely want to see MJF win. And then to me, that was kind of like, I mean, Thunder Rosa getting the pin on Britt Baker was cool, but there's a lot of other stuff in that match that I wasn't thrilled with. But Thunder did awesome. Mercedes is dope. And I turned it off for the main event. I just turned it off.
Yeah, her and Mercedes, man.
Yeah.
Good tag team. Really good tag team. So hold on, I gotta find this. I will find it and I will
just send it to me when you find it.
Starks, I think, is damn hilarious.
That was great.
That little promo with Keith Lee. Oh.
It was actually really funny how he walked up, greetings and salutations, and so funny.
Motherfuckers watching Heathers. Anyways, I think it's great. And how can Will Hobbs be the president of Starks country? Wouldn't you think that Ricky Starks is the president of Starks Country?
No. Clearly, as a proper head of state in a monarchical system, Ricky Starks is the king, Tsar, or emperor, and therefore you have a puppet president.
That makes sense.
Man, you took that deep. You took that deep.
Yeah, that's smart.
I like
That's
history.
That's way deep.
I haven't had to watch a lot. I got to throw weird, random one-liners in here so people know I'm still present.
That's a good point.
But
That's how
damn,
he
that
does.
you just shut it down. You just shut it down.
Oh yeah.
Dude, you just shut it down. Wow. I can say
He'll
this:
slap you
Wardlow
with
is
that
not
history
winning.
right in the face.
Yep.
Oh, Spin Fox does
Big
say
slap.
MJF tan this week was really bad. Dude, the last couple weeks have been really bad. To be honest,
It's not
like
bad.
2 weeks ago, yeah, but like we talked about it briefly too. It's not even orange bad; it's brown bad. Like way too much thick brown makeup on his face for me to feel comfortable with him.
And then when he was like hugging Punk,
Yeah.
I was like, no, don't get the Brian Danielson shirt dirty.
Oh yeah,
There's gonna be self tanner all over it.
it's gonna be all over it. It was awful.
So, but yeah, no. But I think, yeah, Wardlow's not going to win that ladder match.
No.
I don't see Keith Lee winning it.
I'll be honest. There's nobody in that match that I am excited to see win that match.
There's aftermath that could happen that I'm excited to see.
That's true.
And I think that the person that's the mystery opponent, because isn't there a mystery opponent
There
in
usually
that
is.
match? Brian Cage.
Spinner Fox even says the Joker wins it? Question mark. That's what I mean. Yeah, probably. That's what I feel like, because it was like the Brian Cage thing, right? Do you think Brian Cage comes back as the Joker again?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that would be hilarious because he's got a score to settle with two people.
Yeah. That'd be
You
good.
know. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
That's good TV right there. You know.
Hell, yeah.
That's very good TV. And then you can see Cage and Keith Lee team against Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. That's another good match right there, you know?
Potentially.
Or he's going to die. Orange Cassidy's going to die. So, I don't know. He just might want to go and roll under the ring with Danhausen. Because, there's no way he's winning it. No way.
I didn't even watch the main event, to be honest. I turned it the fuck off. The triple threat. So I don't know if you want to watch anything, or if there's anything else you had on that, or we just talk about NXT.
We can talk about NXT. I just will say this, that Revolution's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of different counts. I think it's stupid that we're getting Red Dragon, the Bucks, and Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. That's very boring.
Understand.
And you know, honestly, like I can't think of anything else that's in that match besides the ladder match, Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, and that tag fiasco. Oh, and Punk and MJF. But other than those,
that Britt and Thunder are, I think, the two matches I'm the most curious about. To be honest, I really want Thunder to take that title.
I do too.
My gut just tells me she's not. I just feel like they're not going to pull the trigger on her because she's going to be, quote, a big enough star to not need it, is what they're going to say.
Well, when your head is so far shoved up Tony Khan's ass, let's go there.
Well, that's probably...
Although I would rather, if Thunder doesn't win it, Jade Cargill needs to beat her and have 2 titles.
I think there's a really good chance we do that, to be honest. So we'll see. It's been about to say, don't know why the fuck Orange is in that match. Yeah, I don't understand Orange Cassidy in a ladder match. I don't know why I'm supposed to care. And Spinner Fox says Rosa will leave just like Joey has. Such a shame. Top Flight is back. Oh, that reminds me too. Before we hang up, but after the show, Amanda, remind me to talk to you about the GCW thing.
Okay.
But I don't think I have anything else on the AEW stuff. I really don't.
Nope.
It was an okay show. It was an exciting announcement in one way, but we'll see what's going on. In NXT, it opened up with Braun Breaker, Champa versus the Dirty Dogs. Braun Breaker and Champa came out in like matching crazy colors and singlets. And
That was
people were
weird.
like, people thought it was weird, and they thought it didn't fit Champa right and all that stuff. It turns out it didn't fit him right because it was actual Steiner Brothers gear.
Oh.
They used actual old Steiner's gear for this match, and that was fucking cool.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's...
Yeah. 100%. So, super excited about that. It was also just a fucking great match. Just really good.
I loved it. I mean, now that I know that it's real Steiner gear, I get it now. And I'm like, oh.
Oh, yeah. It makes more sense.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Braun Breaker, though, man, he's just every week, man, he just is getting better and better and better and better.
Dude, his spear on Dolph Ziggler was fucking insane.
I know. Oh my God. And that I will say that match, I mean, I don't think it should have opened the show, to be honest. Because it was a pretty good quality. I thought it was a very good quality match. And I know you have to have, Pete Dunne, but Pete Dunne and, Carmelo could have been the opener. And I think that's when it would be a kind of a perfect show, I would think. But
I could see that. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's I think it'd be fair trade either way. They're both really solid matches, but I do think that there's something to be said about having your... I think the deal is that the world title was in this match, but not defended in this match, whereas the other one, the North American title, was defended. And if you want to elevate the North American title as being not significantly lower than the world title, but less than, like, you let it main event from time to time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially because it's not going to main event all their pay-per-view type stuff. But yeah, I mean, it was awesome. These dudes are, I mean, for the fucking, how cool is this for Breaker too? To be learning with these three guys in the ring. Like, fuck yeah. I don't have anything else to say about that match because it was just good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. LA Knight cut a promo. Man, LA Knight's so fucking good. And the crowd's on fucking fire. I saw someone on my timeline tweet was LA Knight this over in Impact, and I was like, man, he is that over wherever he goes. He is infectiously over. You cannot stop that guy. Which is also amazing because I love it seeing how the NXT audience did not accept him when he came in, and at this point they're just like, never leave. I love it.
They're not getting which last week I know on episode 1 I did say that's kind of disappointing because there's no you got to train them. They're little puppy dogs, and then now you trained them.
Yep.
So
I noticed that as a heel, he was doing the point as a heel, and he would scream even as a heel. He was doing the stuff, letting them know, when you're ready, this is how you do it. Like, okay.
Yep.
He's a
I hope he
fucking
gets
genius.
the champion. I'm waiting for that. Give him some gold.
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
Champion. But yeah, that's money right there.
Yeah. He's so fucking good. Go ahead.
You know what hit me is why am I blanking out on his name? Grayson Waller.
Mm-hmm.
For the longest time, I was like, he looks like somebody. He reminds me of someone. And then it hit me tonight who he reminded me of. Remember Alex Riley?
Yes.
Yeah. And then I thought to myself, is this Alex Riley but with an Aussie accent?
Maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
I think Grayson Waller's also fucking fantastic. He's so good.
Yeah, and Bishop, I don't know where Bishop thinks that, like, oh no, that's Joe Gacy. Sorry. When we get to Joe Gacy, though.
Oh yeah, and dude, they're fucking honestly, like, NXT is firing on all cylinders right now. Like, they're doing their best stuff in a long time, especially since 2.0 came in and they were struggling with 2.0 to find their identity and really where are we going to be, what's it going to look like. And right now, like, I feel like before You had a brand of who could make it to the main roster and who would fit, and like it was a really like pick 'em kind of a deal. Like maybe this one just feels a lot like, yeah, when are they going to grab these guys? Like almost all of them as they go, you just go, oh, they're ready. Like even if it's smoke and mirrors, it's the smoke and mirrors that is professional wrestling. Like I saw someone else say that like, oh, Vince will be in a match and it'll be all smoke and mirrors, and I was like, regardless of if Vince is in a match or not, if you don't understand by now that all of wrestling is smoke and mirrors, like
I don't know.
all of it is. Yeah, what are you watching? It's 100% all smoke and mirrors. That's why we love it. Mm-hmm. I'll see Penn and Teller 4 times a day, every day. I love smoke and mirrors. But yeah, Amari Miller Lash Legend was actually pretty solid. Was it? Oh, hold on, I'm ahead of myself here. Dakota Kai, Wendy Chu against Indy Hartwell and Persia Parata. What do you think about this one, Amanda?
Okay. My obsession with Wendy Chu is just okay. So I thought she and Dakota made a really good tag team because I wasn't sure about the chemistry with it. But what I find fascinating about Wendy Chu is if you see some of her moveset, I mean, she's incorporating that character in her moveset, and her moveset is not some basic, I just got called up from whatever, and I'm new. No, I mean, her moveset is solid. And to have things like, her hair being pulled and she's spinning around and whatnot. And I think that it's just refreshing to kind of see that. And especially for women, because you never see that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because the kind of comedy they do with women or anything, it's always like, oh, some slutty person gets, I don't know, paint dumped over their head or something stupid, So I really enjoy that. And then Dakota in her weirdness is a good compliment to that. So I loved it.
I was really surprised at how well they were together. And I loved it. I sent you a picture of it too, where Wendy Chu is like hugging Dakota Kai and she's making his face like, like, and their photo shoot together where Wendy's all happy and Dakota's like unsure. Like, I'm loving it. I think it's great.
Yeah. And the little kid, when she came in and she was giving the little kid the little stuffy animal she had in her hand, Wendy, and then Dakota takes it away. I thought that was so cute. But he's like, no. Yeah, yes. It was really cute. It was very cute. It's almost like she's house training her. It was adorbs.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's working in such a way. And right away, I was like, I don't fucking know what this shit is. And then at this point, I'm all like, oh, wow, this is actually really refined.
Yeah, well, also, I'm over this Persia and Indy Hartwell romance, whatever it is. It's like a rhombus because I don't know, it just doesn't make sense.
What is it?
I said it's a rhombus. The Indy Hartwell and the Dexter, and then the Persia's like,
oh yeah. I'll be honest.
No,
fucking what's rhombus. Wild? Yeah. To be honest, I mean, for one, the idea she's like, Dexter won't text me back. You're married to someone and you're not communicating on any level. You haven't seen him for a week. Like, I am so past over Indy Hartwell's story and Persia's story. And it's actually a shame too, because we were talking about it. And the idea when Indy came in, we knew she was that super fan for Bayley and Sasha. We're like, oh, this is crazy cool. How amazing for her. And we're so excited. Everything since she got hooked up with Johnny Gargano has been just this utter downfall of legitimacy, to where we were thinking about it, and it's like when I see Indy, I turn down the TV or I get up and leave. Like, it's gotten so bad that it's like you're gonna have to literally repair this character to get us to care now. When we were caring for her when she was just jobbing out to like Nia Jax on Raw, you know what I mean? We're like, oh, that's her, that's that girl. Like, we've come a long way down, is what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
all the potential in the world.
I love how you single out Gargano and saying, doing this stuff with it's true. It's sad. But it's true and funny.
Yeah. It was all the Gargano stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just seeped over, and everyone's gotten better off for it except for Indy and Dexter.
Yeah.
Still hate Austin Theory. I don't like him. But anyways.
Actually, I think Austin Theory is doing so much better than he was doing before.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, he's doing an awesome job there. But to not keep us here too long, we'll keep it moving a little bit. I don't want to talk about every single segment, but I do want to talk about Gunther versus Solo Sikoa. So fucking dope. And I'll be honest with you, I think me and Solo are best friends now. I'm kidding.
Cool.
I did that drawing of Solo. I don't think I showed you, Klump. So I'll have to send it to you to get so you can see it. I did a drawing of Solo when he had the half face paint of Umaga, and then in the background I put kind of a faded drawing of Umaga, and I posted it up and said, he fights alone, but he doesn't go it alone. And he liked it ultimately, retweeted it, and then followed me and sent me a DM, and we went back and forth a little bit, and I was like, holy shit, like.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
BFFL.
Yeah, BFFL now. And it was amazing. I told him, thank you so much. I was like, I'm a huge supporter for you and your entire family. Like, I love all you guys and all the companies, and, is what it is. But, like, we talked just, briefly, a couple messages back and forth, and I just thought, like, how cool of it for him just as a person to do that. You know what I mean? Like, of all the fan arts that I've done, and I've had some of them respond to me or comment, retweet, or with a comment, and that's always nice, always great. I think it's amazing. But I don't recall ever getting a DM from one of them. I got followed by Natty for one, and she made a comment on one of mine, but I've not gotten a DM from anybody like that where I was kind of like, oh, holy shit, the dude super appreciates it and stuff. Like, just a cool guy. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't have to do that. He didn't. And I already liked him a lot. So it wasn't like, hey, I'm going to win this kid over. It was all like, no, I'm already a massive fan. And then that didn't hurt the situation, I'll be honest. And I got to find some Solo Sikoa merch and start bringing it in,
There you go. There you go. But you know what? That was a really phenomenal picture that you did.
The drawing? Yeah.
Yeah, the drawing. Yeah.
It was tough on me, too. I drew the drawing of Solo by himself. And I had it for almost a week and a half trying to figure out what the fuck I'm going to do with this. Like, what kind of background, like, what I'm going to do. And it just hit me all of a sudden. You know what I mean? But, like, it was one of the... I was really happy with how it came out because of how stuck I got in the process. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Because a lot of times I start with something and I know exactly where I'm going, and I go there and say, okay, cool, that happened. But this is one where I got stuck, and I was like, fuck, man, I don't know if this is going to go anywhere. And so for it to turn out the way that it did and to be appreciated like that was really cool. So to see him call out Gunther and go back and forth, what a fucking cool match. And what a couple of tough dudes. And they even took a picture of it. There's a fucking handprint on Solo. Walter still got it. So Gunther's got it.
Gunther's always got it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That solid handprint. I even found it. I have a signed 8x10 from at the time Walter, and it's that photo where he's hitting the dude in the chest and it's got that ripple coming off of it.
Yeah.
That disgusting photo. I've got that signed by him. So,
So brutal.
Any thoughts on the match, Amanda?
Yeah, I was like, damn, I need to see this again. Yeah. Like, as far as, matches you want to see again. This one, it was just pretty awesome. Because sometimes when you see matches with Gunther, that it just comes off to me that his opponent generally is very cowardly, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like a, like it just, he's the dominant force with it. But this one, it was like, no, toe to fucking toe. Yeah. And it was pretty awesome.
And he did the 2 power bombs at the end, finishing up with the Tenru bomb, which I thought was incredible too, because it was like, he couldn't choke him out. Like, I mean, Solo just was a fighter this whole fucking match. And it was great to see. And the idea that Gunther wasn't sure if the first power bomb was going to do it. And it's a power move. And he did like a big fucking, I think it was a big boot before that too. Like, he did a couple moves in a row where it was just all like he had to be sure, because there's a lot of times, like, I mean, he beat Champa with a chop the one time, right? because they built it right. You know what I mean? It's not like you just chopped him out of the gate, but like they built it right and the chop did it. And it was great. But this is one where he did a number of power moves on Solo because he just didn't know if that was even going to be enough. And I thought that was so fucking cool. And although Solo didn't get the win this one, he came out looking like a badass.
Oh yeah.
Yep. The Gacy Harlan stuff. What do you want to say about Gacy?
You know, I don't know why Bishop thought that, like, I don't like Gacy. I just didn't get it, if I remember correctly from seeing it, because it was like, it's like, I don't get it. I don't know where this is going to go, right?
Yeah.
Now, in the last couple of weeks, I've been, oh yeah, this is like great. This is some really great shit. And it turned my little blind eye to be, oh, okay, I get it now. And this is pretty fucking cool. So I don't know, Bishop, why you said that, but no, I really love some of this weird shit that he does. So don't know what to tell you, man. Don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, and that was kind of an ongoing thing with all of us. Like, I remember when he first came out, I was like, my first thought was, okay. And I remember that the first thought right away, Klump was all like, fuck this dude and everything he's doing.
Yeah.
And the internet was all like, oh, look it, they've erased him. He doesn't exist. That was a big flop in the face. And I even saw some internet journalist types asking people or even reporting like, oh, what a clearly disconnected concept. And this must be from the delusional Vince McMahon and his demented view of the left. And as it's continued to play out, those voices have gotten quieter and quieter as everyone's become more and more compelled by this psychotic character. And Klump, I thought you described it better than I've heard anyone describe it, of it being someone that takes your ideals and twists them into their maniacal benefit, which makes him even more the villain because he's speaking your language, and fuck you for speaking my language. I love it.
We talked about that a fair amount, like with other people who really embody that person in wrestling and in other spaces. I've always felt that a true villain is not somebody who just propagates hate. It's a person who is very aware of the enemy they're targeting, utilizes the terminology and language of that enemy to befriend and create a false sense of camaraderie, then to destroy them.
Oh yeah. It's genius levels. And you figuring it out and piecing it together for us, I felt was genius levels as too, because I couldn't quite encapsulate that concept. I was like, I don't know why, but I'm compelled. And you're all like, dude, this. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Fuck. And Harlan was a monster in this. Just an absolute monster.
Yeah.
I do wonder where you go with Harlan at a certain point, if he's an unstoppable force in this sort of... He teeters on the supernatural without going into actual supernatural, but like that supernatural strength kind of concept.
Yeah.
Like watching him wrestle is like kind of watching Undertaker wrestle when he first debuted. Kind of slow, choppy, big hits, not falling, not selling stuff, popping. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he reminds me of early Undertaker. I'm fascinated by it. I just am. Go ahead, Amanda. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say that, just how Klump puts and describes Gacy and what he does. I mean, that's so spot on. And I think that one thing that we're missing a lot of times is a really good villainous heel, because we don't really see that anymore.
Yeah.
I can't even remember the last person besides Skrull who is one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. There are people who think they are, but no. So, yeah, that's what I'm finding so fascinating with this all.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Let's see. Cora Jade and Raquel Gonzalez versus Valentino, Feroz, and Yulisa Leon. Them as a tag team, I think, are fucking phenomenal. I really want to see them with a manager, because I feel like they got a lot of fire when they talk, but they do have thick enough accents that I think that I wouldn't have them not talk, but I do think that they could have a third body there to help them get further along quicker.
I think you just summoned Robert Stone, and I will hate you if that happens.
You know who they should bring in?
Who?
Selena De La Renta.
Yeah.
She would
Oscar
be
De La Renta's sister.
Am I wrong? Is it not Selena De La Renta? Am I got her name wrong?
The shoe person? Or the dress person?
No, she was in MLW for a long time.
Oh,
Alistair Black's what? No.
No,
That's
it's Selena
Selena.
Vega.
Oh.
No. God, if I have it wrong, let's see. MLW, Selena. It's S-A-L. Yeah, De La Renta. Selena. I got the name right. You guys are jerks. Selena De La Renta. It's Selena, not Zelina. S-A-L-I-N-A De La Renta. She was a fucking mouthpiece over in MLW. I'm trying to think who she was paired with. Response to Hammerstone's challenge. Parker shocking statement on Selena. If you look her up, she was a manager for a while. Her contract expired with MLW and nobody ever picked her up. But I will say, like, she was such a great talker. She would be an awesome person to pair with these women because they would feel like a big unit, almost like Toxic Attraction. Selena does wrestle some, but she's much better as a manager. And like I said, I just think the team needs like a third body to piece it all together just a little more clear. And you can still allow the fire and passion to come off from the tag team while they discuss with her and she, sort of translates, sort of not. You know what I mean? Like, I just think it would be a fucking home run there, but maybe I just got my head up my ass on that one. Either than that, though, I thought the match was fucking really good, and Cora Jade and Raquel Gonzalez was a tag team that kept making me laugh in the best ways. Like, Cora is so fucking energetic and funny. Like, she's captivating in her own way. The way that, like, Raquel held her up for that slam before she was going to slam Cora into, I forget which woman was on the ground. And then Cora's just smiling at the crowd with the fucking rock and roll horns. Just like, here we go. Like, wee. Like, I was dying. I just thought it was so infectious. But I'm super stoked about that. And we'll see where it goes, I suppose. Anything else on those guys?
No.
I think I'm good.
All right. Then the only thing left, because Andre Chase and Van Wagner I didn't even really watch, and I don't want to be mean, so we'll keep moving. Carmella Hayes versus Pete Dunne. What'd you think?
I only watched part of it. I didn't get to finish the rest of it.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was exactly what you would think it would be. I'll be honest.
Oh, okay. Would you say it was a little less than him, Carmelo and Cameron Grimes? Or do you think it was a little better?
It was different. It was different enough. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They weren't the same match. You had two separate dudes. Plus, I really liked Trick Williams tries to get involved. Pete Dunne grabs Trick Williams' fingers and does the snap, and he just falls on. Like,
oh, no.
It was good. Yeah. I think it was great. And I mean, to be honest, they say Carmelo, when he hits, he don't miss or something. I don't know. And I feel like that's true they're putting him with like top level guys and proving that not only does he belong, but like
he could be ready.
He could be ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking phenomenal. Like, and this match was great. Like, everyone's got lives, and do you have time to watch stuff or not? Always comes down to it. But I will say that knowing what you know about Carmelo Hayes and Pete Dunne, it is exactly what you thought it was going to be in all the best ways. And it was a fucking fantastic match. And if you find yourself drawn to it, you won't be disappointed. But at the end of the day, I guess the story is only sort of there. And if you don't make it to watch it, you can also just in your heart of hearts knows that they put on a great match and they put on a main event and they were that main event. So I just think that NXT 2.0 is doing awesome stuff right now, and it's a lot of fun. And I think as they separate themselves more and more from 2.0, we're seeing Champa do stuff on Raw as well as NXT. I'm loving the way. I think this is one of the big things that's really been exciting me about NXT lately is they did it with AJ and Grayson Waller some, and now they're doing it even more so with Dolph and Ciampa. the way they're intertwining it through Raw and back down to NXT, I think has just been perfectly done. And I feel like they teased it with AJ and Grayson Waller because they had him like in the audience for like a segment with AJ, and then AJ came down and like finished it off. But like, I feel like they teased it to see what that would do. I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to the numbers at all, so I don't know if it like they saw a peak in ratings or not. But I do think that there was a overwhelming successful view of it, which is why I think they're doing more of it with Dolph, which makes me even more excited for what happens after Dolph and Champa. Who's the next main roster guy they're going to bring in to cycle around with NXT? And I think the idea of that as a consistent through story is so fucking cool because it makes the possibilities just endless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't have anything else really. I'm looking around to see if like I left anything out really, and I feel like there's one thing that I was gonna mention and I just don't have it on top of my head. So, otherwise, have you either of you guys watched Corey and Carmella on YouTube?
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
No.
There's an episode now, right?
It was their finale. It was episode 6 or 7, I think.
Oh, okay. No, I've only watched the first 3 then.
Okay, there's a couple more, and each episode's only 10 minutes long. I think the finale was 8.5. I think one of the other ones was like a 9. Klump, I will say this. Did you ever watch Total Divas?
No.
I wouldn't ever tell you to go back and watch Total Divas.
Enough said.
It was fun if you liked it. I enjoyed it, but I rarely recommended it to people because it was exactly what it was. And it was good at being what it was. I would venture to say I think you would enjoy watching Corey and Carmella. Their dynamic is so funny. They're a good team in a lot of ways. So I would say watch the first episode or two if you find time. You're really busy right now, I know, and that's staying on YouTube for a long time. It's going to do its thing, so there's no rush. I think you'd actually enjoy it. I think it's fun. It's not like most reality shows. It's not scripted in those ways, and it's just, you can tell that they recorded probably 300 hours of stuff and came out with the 10 best minutes that they could find. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I still love the move with her championship belt in the custom case.
Yo,
that got broken. That was
the way she swallows her rage. Like, you can see it. Like, go back and watch it. The moment she sees it, she goes, and then you see her like about to say something, and you see her physically swallow and then say something. And I was like, she just had a ball of rage that was about to spew pure hate and said, nope, check that. Let the rage settle and now address the situation. It was amazing. I was all like, oh, I know exactly how she feels.
I was like, she was just like, I'm gonna, and then that's what I noticed. I was like, okay.
It was one of my favorite reactions I've ever seen. It was just so perfect. Like, she like sucked her teeth, she gulped a rage, and then she addressed the situation, and I was all like, holy shit.
That's how you do it.
Yeah,
that's how
you do it. And if perchance, which they have said, and I don't believe it to be scripted, if perchance it ever came out down the line, this was like a scripted show they did, fucking kudos for being this goddamn good at it.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to know if you guys have seen it. You know, us here, we've always been really supportive of Corey and Carmella. Well, not Corey so much. We've shit on him an awful lot, but we've come around on Corey. We've come around on Corey. Because we realized we've been getting work the whole time. And we've been very supportive of Carmella for a very long time as well. So I just want to throw that out there as a quick little plug to check it out if you get the chance. It's a short enough program. It's a lot of fun. Anything you guys wanted to throw out there, final thoughts or anything? Was it this weekend is Revolution, right?
Mm-hmm. This weekend's Revolution.
Is it this Saturday?
Sunday.
It's actually Sunday, huh? I don't believe I'm doing any kind of a watch along, but if you're watching it and you got a link you want to send me, I can live message you while it happens. We'll see if there's stuff I watch, stuff I don't, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's only 2 matches that I feel like I'm all that interested in, so.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
Maybe 3.
Maybe 3. Any final thoughts, Klump?
Not really. I'm curious to see what happens. I'm not going to watch it live, but I'll be curious to see what the results are.
Who do you want to win versus Rosa and Britt Baker?
Rosa, all day long.
Every day. All day, every day. Never lose, Thunder. And Thunder Rosa beat Tony Deppen in a fucking great match. And I'll be honest, in the nicest way possible, I was kind of surprised at how outmatched Tony was, and not from a kayfabe sense, in just he's having a hard time keeping up with her.
Yeah.
And, he doesn't move as naturally in the ring as her. And
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say that as a disrespectful thing, but sometimes you see certain talent and they're so far and beyond where you thought they were. Like, I've always known how good she is. And I've heard so much. I haven't seen Tony Deppen wrestle live much, just those 2 matches I saw this weekend. And I've always heard so much good about him. And like when he wrestled with Ron Funches, it was like, that's a great match for him to be in. It's a safe guy, a great wrestler. He's fucking phenomenal. And watching him in the ring with Thunder Rosa, I was like, I don't think he was ready for her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't think so. And especially with intergender, because sometimes you don't know
Yeah.
necessarily, what it's. I mean, you could do tons of intergender, but sometimes it's like with different people, you don't know exactly, because Deppen's pretty good. But I can see how she was a lot quicker than him. I can see that.
Yeah.
He's very slow, kind of methodical when it comes to his.
Just his style in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she was also supernatural in it as well. Like, there's a lot to be said for speed. There's a lot to be said for naturally moving with speed, right? Like you look at guys like Ricochet, where he moves in such a way now that you don't feel like he's choreographed, but you can't believe how his body got to where it was. You know what I mean? Where there's a lot of people now who do moves and then walk over to their spot, or will run to their spot in a really awkward way, or get hit and then move in the opposite direction of the momentum taking them to be in the spot for the next thing. So there's something to be said for being able to transition in a way that makes sense, that lets you believe that the fight is happening. And I would say that Thunder Rosa is doing an incredible job at that, and turns out others may need to work on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Anything else, Amanda, for you?
I just want to say big middle finger to Ticketmaster, Access, all of these people, Tony Khan, T-Mobile Arena, the whatever the Bud Light thing or whatever, Michelob Ultra, whatever, at Mandalay Bay, y'all can suck my booty because I was single ticket shamed today. I hate that. I go usually alone to things because no one really wants to go with me. And,
You're loud.
I'm short. I like to be in the front. Okay. Now, I tried to get a ticket and I had a really good one. Second row, right on the ramp. Right on the fucking ramp. He wouldn't let me buy it.
Wow.
I was so frustrated.
That's so shitty because single ticket and they want to reserve for groups.
Or two or more, where it's like we want 2 people in the front instead of 1, because then the idea is
Yeah, but you know what?
I understand the
I bring
mentality.
the
I don't
fire
agree
of
with
5
it.
people. I
That's a
bring
good
the
point.
fire of 5 people.
Yeah. One Amanda front row is definitely better than a Klump and Marsh in the front row. I'll be honest.
Let me tell
Me
you.
and him will sit there very calmly most of the time.
Oh no. See, that's why they need me hard cam at these ones, like, because their front row is very plain and vanilla unless they're trying to get themselves over.
Yes.
Me, I'm all about that
Right.
excitement, about that. I'm jumping up, I'm screaming, I'm like, whatever.
That's a
Like,
good point.
that's me. It is me. Watch All In.
Oh yeah. I mean, as much as I get a kick out of the guy, that wrestling fan with the green shirt and the brown hat. He calls himself Smiley. People call him Green Shirt Guy. He's front row all the time. Just
I
well
know.
done.
Even Brock
Very
Lesnar
well
did.
done. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. Like, me and Klump will be sitting there and we'll be all like, that was nice, with a head nod, where you'd be going like, fuck it! Like, bringing the
That
heat.
shit. Give me a fucking 3.
Ma'am, quit throwing shit into the ring.
I don't
No,
throw
she wouldn't be
stuff
throwing shit in the ring. She'd just be throwing the fire.
I'm throwing the fire. I'm not throwing shit in the ring. Besides, like, I tore my rotator cuff in high school. I can't throw anything. It just goes
Oh.
right on the ground. So that's why when luchadors, people throw the ones in it, I have to walk up and actually toss it in. Okay, I can't throw it. Yeah. So just a little FYI. But God forbid it's someone I really, really like. Oh boy.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh boy. I could say there's a couple of Ring of Honor things when the library comes back up that I can point you guys to. I can point you guys to the anniversary show before the MSG one. Oh, yeah, I can point that out. I even did it in not matches. Marsh saw it at NWA.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you got yelled
Yeah,
at
just
by Nick
my-
Aldis.
Yeah, just my presence. Nick Aldis just
Didn't like it.
it's like Marty all the way, man. Yeah.
Well, one day
I bring the
I'll be
fun.
making enough money. We'll go together. But until then,
Oh
you
no
gotta do it
no,
yourself.
it's pricey, and you know,
That's what I mean. Yeah.
is
It's
it
gonna
worth
take a
it?
while.
I don't know. But all I know is that the people that are in the front row are boring as fuck. And I'll be the one. I'll probably, the only time I would ever be boring is during Judas. Because I will
that'd be
sit
funny.
there tapping my fingers on the top of the barricade. Can we finish this shit up? I hate that. That was me on the cruise too. I was like,
On that note, let's speculate real quick. If you guys have noticed, Jericho is in seemingly significantly different shape than he has been lately. Klump, what's your speculation on? Here's my two theories, and I want your speculation. Either Jericho's looking to make a return to WWE to have a final run and potentially go into the Hall of Fame and call it quits because maybe he's done for AEW all he can do for AEW, or alternatively, he's getting into WWE shape so he can leverage the concept of a WWE return to ask for more money and get more money out of Tony, and then completely fall back off the wagon there. Klump, what do you think?
I think both are absolutely fair. We've seen him do it before.
Yeah.
When at one point when he was in WWE and negotiating a contract deal, he set up a meeting with Dixie Carter in a rather public space. You know, and I don't think that that's wrong. You know, I don't. You know, we do this. You know, it's getting yourself ready for an interview. But to me, what's maybe frustrating or upsetting is like, man, it's been rough seeing him work the past couple years because beyond his appearance, and I'm not body shaming him, his work rate didn't look it, and his move set didn't help him. I'm sorry, the elbow thing to me just screams, yeah, I can't really do a lion salt anymore. Now with this keg going down in the middle, it adds so, like, if you want it to look like an old guy who's kind of past the peak of his career, okay, cool. But then why get to this? And I'm like, oh shit, because at no point anyone watching, and I'll go back to NJPW, because Jericho's looked kind of rough since his NJPW time. It's like, what the hell happened? You know?
Yeah, 100%. Which one do you think, or do you think that either one is a fair possibility? Do you have one that you
I think either one's a fair possibility. I think his end run really has to be in WWE.
Yeah.
I think his retirement run, his last matches, his last WrestleMania needs to occur. You know, I think he's going to be in the WWE Hall of Fame, period. So a last run would be perfect. I think he's also done a lot to show that you can work both companies because he's done stuff like the Stone Cold Sessions and various things. So yeah, he could do more. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Yeah. I'd like to, you know, like all of us, see him doing it in the best shape he can be in, which awesome.
If he really does have one last run, that program's got to be with Kevin Owens, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, no doubt. Maybe Sami Zayn involved with some of the chicanery, but it's got to be Kevin, right? Like, you can't put him with someone else right now. Like, you could, but like, the fuck would it mean? Maybe you could bounce him between a Kevin Owens and AJ for a final run that's like 6 months, and put a button on both of those. Amanda, what do you think? Jericho in the best shape he's been in since he joined AEW, literally. Do you think he's leveraging a contract deal or leveraging a WWE run?
I think he's doing a WWE run because we've seen people trying to leverage Tony Khan, and it's on. You know, but
trying to get that Cody treatment.
That Cody treatment, that Cody rub. No, I think he's gonna do one more thing in thing for WWE, because he's the one who's really brought attention to like Sammy Guevara and some other younger guys. And I think this Sunday too with Kingston, Eddie has to win this one. There's no way. But I think with like people like Kingston and stuff, he's like putting his little stamp on, of approval, because I'm pretty sure he gets to pick and choose what he does and who he does it with. So definitely I see that happening. So, other than that, I mean, I don't know, because a lot of people think Janela is leveraging because he's in great shape. No, he's just like, fuck you. I can go. Look at me.
He's not leveraging. Joey is proving them wrong. There's a difference.
Yeah. Joey doesn't fucking have to do shit. He would go in fucking Tony Khan's office or wherever Tony Khan is sitting, fucking open a fucking pack of Marlboro lights, sit down, light it, and be, why am I not on fucking TV? What the fuck? And they kind of need a Joey Janela there. They need people, if they really listen to the wrestlers, they need people like Janela. Oh, yeah. And I think that Jericho's given all he can to AEW.
I think that in the best possible way, AEW's outgrown the need for a Jericho. And I'm not saying that as a knock on either of them. I think that Jericho provided a definitive service to them, and I think at this point that neither one of them need each other to complete their journeys. So, and I think it's a net positive. I think it's a positive thing. Grim Reaper comes through the chat saying, hi. He said, Y2J will make one more run indeed. It was Y2AJ returns, and then laughs. Yeah, maybe. Maybe you get Y2AJ versus Sammy and KO to get it going, and go from there. What I do want to say real quick, and we'll wrap this up. I know we all got to go. I do think that to me what's notable is the amount of people talking about the shape that Jericho is in, and the absolute full 100% narrative of, oh, he's looking to go back to WWE. I think that Tony Khan desperately needs to keep Jericho now more than ever, in the regard that you can't be the company that people think that you go to and be dumpy and half-ass it, and then when they see people get into shape and say, oh, look at, they're WWE ready. You need to push the narrative that, no, we're on the same level as them. And if people are seeing people get into shape and their first thought is, oh, they're going to someplace bigger and better, that's a bad look for Tony. So I think that because Jericho's in the shape, Tony's got to fucking keep him. But also, probably he's just going to go back to WWE. I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. But that's my thought. My first thought was, wow, no one thinks he's getting into shape to stay with Tony. And that's a bad look for Tony.
Yep.
There
Guys,
are some people who don't.
Who don't what?
That don't eat.
That's possible, yeah.
No, seriously.
People who don't eat for Tony?
Yeah. Their nutrition is lacking.
Oh, that's true. Well, yeah.
Men and women.
Well, guys, I think I'm ready for last caller if you are.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead and do this. You guys can find us at WrestlingOnTheRocks.com for all of our merch. We got mugs, we got shirts, we got wine tumblers. You can go to newwave.co and use promo code CHEERS for some 10% off coffee. They've also got their K-Pods now, the K-Cups. They did those.
Hell yeah.
Now. Those are fully released. And Klump, if there's anything you like, it's a full release. So check them out. Check us out, WrestlingTheRocks.com, and come back to the dive bar of the IWC for a brand new episode 1 next week. Guys, that's the last call.
Cheers.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.